Good evening and welcome behind closed doors with myself, Sue. We've got Brian with us tonight, the great Brian Clare from the Northeast, a great campaigner, going many years, many years, and yeah, it's always been a friend of ours and like a brother to me, really, in some respects. Him and Sandy, very good guys. Waiting for somebody else to come in. We've got another guest that's going to come on tonight and have a chat to us. Also a survivor, and hopefully, all being well,
Okay, you're
he
live.
joins us. Otherwise, we'll have
Good
a
evening
chat
and welcome
between
behind
us.
closed doors with
And
myself, Sue.
Sue will do the later part of the
uh,
show and give her a chance to be in the deep end and see how she goes with it. How about that, then, Sue?
Well, we'll just see how it goes, won't we?
You'll be, you should be used to it by now. So, how are you then, Brian?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've been, like I said, I've been doing a lot of research into what I thought was the White House. I actually thought it was the White House, but obviously I've been corrected on that, which I was wrong. Here we go, underground tunnels in the Capitol building.
Yeah, I see that. I see a lot of digging work going on there, or an aerial photograph, and they're showing a lot of aerial footage of it.
You know, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, to the fact even when the so-called inauguration went ahead, there was children standing by. What I've told this afternoon is children standing by to be abused.
Yeah.
And Creepy George celebration, you know.
Makes me sick, that bloke.
So if there's anybody else,
this is why we do,
guys.
guys.
Listening, can I just say, if there's anybody listening, if they can get in touch with us, and I'll be very interested in speaking, you know.
Yeah. Hello, Lissy. Oh, she's not on yet. Hello.
Just had a ping on my phone. I hope Brian can. Do you want to give him a ring to see if he's having any problems?
I'll have to leave the room.
What? Oh yeah. Hang on a minute. Let's just see what's happening. Let's just see if there's a message here. He's late. He's running late. He's running 15 minutes late, he's saying. So we'll have to make
So we'll carry on. Hello, Lissy. You're right.
Hello, lovely Sue.
Good. Yeah. I just want to say, like, just because of the week I've had with regarding trolls, what have you. Yesterday, I got a message saying about John Wedger, Nicky Cooper, and that, and it really. I went to the page to see what it was about, and it was saying John Wedger, Nicky Cooper, they was in Soho with the children while the children were being sort of pimped out and everything. Who reported it to the inspector, slating John right off. Well, we all know John did report it, and that's why he's in the position he is in. You know, he did go to his superiors about it. And these people keep slating him off. And it's been going on for nearly 3 years. And I've always said to him, give me 100% against John. Nobody's ever been able to do it. So don't bother even trying to attempt to do it now, because I'm not going to turn on John now. You know, they could have found all this out before, but no, they haven't. It's just trolling.
We said this from all along. We've said that if you've got hardcore evidence, proof, and actual facts, not hearsay, not he said, she said, and it becomes the Mad Axe murder by the time it's gone down the line. If you've got hardcore facts, then bring it to us. I mean, we are the first people that, you know, you should be telling or speaking to, because, you know, we've had a long association with John, and I've done many an interview with John, quite a few, in fact, and Brian has just done a few. You know, it's easy saying people saying things about him, but you know, John went to his superiors, and they actually turned around and said to him, "Shut the fuck up." That's what they said to him. You have to shut the fuck up. You either toe the line or we come down on you like a ton of bricks, and you
Even-
won't let us hit you.
They even moved him off the case, didn't they?
They did. They moved him off the case, and they turned around and threatened to take his family, his home, and everything. These are the people he was employed by, for telling him they would take everything from him, everything.
Yeah.
They pulled the rug from under his feet.
Yeah. And to be honest, I mean, I started to go down again last night, and I thought, no, you're not doing this to me. And I phoned Alan, spoke to him, and we've blocked the person. You know, Nicky Cooper, Jeanette, yeah, I agree about them, but not John. You know, I've explained where the money went, and the money did go there.
It seems a bit ironic why we have to explain ourselves. Why we have to.
I tried to get in touch with Nicky because I'm sure I know. I'm sure I do off a few years back. I'm positive I do, you know. And the thing is, she totally blanked us, so I wasn't bothered anywhere, to be honest, because the thing. I think,
well, I
mean, there's one thing I hate, right? I'm not involved with the John Wedger carry on no more, you know what I mean? Because things didn't make sense, right? Not on John's behalf, but on other stuff, you know, because I did look into it and I thought, nah, it's not slowing us down anymore. So at the end of the day, I mean, as you know, I spoke to John's enemies. You know I did, you know, you're not daft, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I thought to myself, that this is why a lot of people's asked, well, why am I not involved anymore? Well, it's simple, isn't it? Because I mean, I'm no turncoat, right? I'm not. But when it comes to stuff like when people's just having like saying stuff to have a go at people, that's not what I'm about. People might think that they can think what they want, but this is coming from me live. I'm not about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Alan knows the real reason, but I'll say it. My reason is I don't like Bill Maloney.
Yeah, which you've said all along. And
yeah,
we
and
know.
I'll say till the end of me, and I'll say at the end of my days. And at the end of the day, that's sort of private between me and Bill, and it will get sorted.
Yeah.
It was funny actually, because we were when I went up to Sunderland, Brian, we had a meal together, and we sat there, and we were talking quite one-to-one on. And we've actually spoken many times, but we've phoned each other. We spoke to each other on a few occasions, and we spoke to each other about all of this many times before. And I know Brian's feelings. I've known Brian's feelings from day one, and I've tried to convince Brian. You know, listen, I'm the first one. Please, if you've got something, you know, and Brian knows so much. He's so such a mindful of information with you know, and what goes on. It doesn't matter whereabouts it is. He knows about it all over the country, and the minefield of what it is. It's so, you know, like even to this day, it's still so bad. It's still rife to this day. And I'm not going to say too much about it, but it is today. It's still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is still going on. Of course, it is, and in my opinion, it's a lot worse, and it really is. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's a lot worse than in my day to bring it out. I mean, the ultimate thing is CBS, the courts are covering up even more than they ever did. It's like I've always said since day one, at least in the 80s and 90s, we had a chance to get it to court, which we did. You know, we didn't win, but we got it to court, you know. I mean, ultimately, even in them days, we knew we'd not get it to court because it was so big, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's going on a lot more, you know. You know what people say, oh, well, I don't see it in the papers. Well, naturally, it's because the papers are controlled, aren't they? They're controlled by 2 billionaires anyway.
Well, we know that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me just say something, guys. There's two very interesting bits that have just come out, in actual fact. Boris Johnson did a video where it's a talk show. It's called Talk Radio in London. And they film it now, and they put it on YouTube. And whether it's another way of making revenue or not, I don't know. But it's filmed. You got is it Brewer Hartley? She comes on every day, and she's very, very good. Julie Hartley Brewer. Does that ring a bell? Will do. Do you know Julia Brewer Hartley Brewer off of Talk Radio, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, she's very, very good. What I was saying in one of his interviews, he said about £6 million being spaffed up the wall on child abuse.
Oh,
Now,
the
he's
incident
saying
was-
now, he never said that, but he's caught on video actually saying it. But now he's turning around and he said it on video. I never said that. So we put the two videos together with him saying it and with him turning around and saying, I didn't say that. And this is the leader that's leading our country is saying that. And relevantly, we come to the pandemic, the so-called pandemic that we're in now. Nobody's not saying there ain't nothing out there. We know there's a really, really serious flu pandemic going out there. We know there's a serious bug going out there, and people have died from it. But are the figures, are they being manipulated? Are they being messed about? Are they?
I mean, logically, Alan.
Let me just say this before I go, Brian, and I'll let you come on. Turn around and said 6 months ago, we will have a public inquiry into the pandemic. Now, I've just mentioned one thing. He said he didn't say about spaffing money up the wall and child abuse. He said 6 months ago, we will have everything. It's just all broken promises.
Well,
You might
story,
find
isn't
it
it?
funny,
Yeah,
Alan.
guys, one at a time, one at a time.
He doesn't want to drop his Tory whipping boys in the shit, does he? You know what I mean? And we all know he's an ex-Bullington boy. You know what I mean? We also know about the statement he made years ago when he said, "Oh yes, yes, the common people, they deserve a good buggering, don't they?" And that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And his attitude, same with Labour lately. You know what I mean? Labour's never been Labour since John Smith. You know, and we all know about that. I don't want to go on. I mean, Tony Blair. Tony Blair is the biggest exactly. ever happened to politics in this country. Apart from Boris as well, like they're both running close, like. But there you go.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
your mic was going funny.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm all right now.
You're not getting any more, mate.
Yeah.
Is he all right now?
Yeah. Yeah, we can understand you.
Listen, did you want to come in there? I don't know if it was you who wanted to say something, but if you do want to come in, just put your hand up, and then I can see who wants to come in, and that saves us all talking over each other, which is very difficult to sort of manage sometimes. If we just put our hand up and say, you know, I know exactly who's going to come in and who wants to come in, and it makes a lot more sense and make it easy for everybody. I'm in the chat room because the chat room.
Briefly to say on the, you know, I call him Boris and the Karloffs because it's like Boris Karloff, but I was shocked when I remember him saying that.
Yeah.
What you were talking about, Alan, I remember it. And I also was shocked, if it's true, to know that he was born in the same year I was, in 1964. So, you know, that's all I can say about that tosser.
Well,
and I did hear him say that. I've got a very good memory.
Is that Boris you're talking about, Listen? Is that Boris you're talking? Is that Boris you're talking about?
Yeah, Boris. I call him because he was born the same year I was, allegedly.
Do you know where he was born?
No, where was he born?
America.
In America.
Yeah.
Oh,
He moved to the UK when he was 4 years old. He had dual citizenship, American and UK. And he gave it up when he sold a property and America wanted to tax him on the sale of the property. And rather than paying the tax to the US government, he actually gave up his American citizenship and became fully British. A bit of a trivia there for you.
Sorry. This week he's been up to Scotland, hasn't he, to a factory, not factory, to, what do they call it? Where they do, where they test for viruses. He's been up there in one of them. But we're not allowed to go anywhere, but he can go to a place like that.
You mean a laboratory?
That's it.
Yeah, that's the right.
Think of it. Yeah, you know.
It's interesting, thanks. I'm just like, yeah, it's interesting how he doesn't age very much. And also, I saw him, I don't watch the news much, I turn it down. And don't know if it's his fiance or his partner or his wife, what she was wearing and that. And I was just like, ooh, that's all I want to say about that. Ooh, you know.
Well, his wife's a Italian bitch anyway, isn't she?
I know there's so many, he's got so many kids and that, hasn't he? You know. Does he look after each one of them?
Thank you, Sue. Because and I will shut up because I've got toothache now. So,
Oh,
no, I know you know it's like. So Boris's latest lady, because I do follow all he's doing. I have seen. I won't go into the details of the photographs I've seen of her and the young child that they have between them. But these photographs that were not photoshopped were very telling about what kind of things he gets up to, wherever he gets up to it. So I won't go into detail. So a laboratory in Scotland, you know, I would much prefer to look at pictures of William Morris's, was it William, you know, so I'm on about the
Wallace.
people. Thank you, yeah, because I've got Scottish ancestry. So he was born in America. If it was 1964, and I'm aging, he's not aging that much, is he, with his stupid haircut and Boris's bikes, and he whipped mare and all that. I mean, and then suddenly he's here, and it's.
No, well, we
They
need
seem
to
to
get.
follow patterns, don't they? Like, you know, Churchill, him, in different times, and if they come out, I'd just like to call him this. Boris Karloff was in horror films, right? So it's how my memory goes. So I call him Boris and the Karloffs, meaning the people that are associated with him. You know, I'd rather watch Boris Karloff, to be honest. Can't even remember who he is. Some horror film person. No.
Yeah. So, anyone else want to say anything?
Well, to be honest, Boris Karloff's more entertaining, isn't he?
True, very true. More entertaining than any of them, but hey ho. Oh, well, I'll just say while we're quiet. I just want to warn parents out there, no matter how many times we have told them and put it on Facebook and everything about these sites. There now TikTok. There's two prolific paedophiles on there. I have their names. They're still
Can you say that
doing
again, Sue? The dog was barking. I do apologise.
that. There's an app called TikTok, and parents have been warned and warned and warned, and there is actually over 150 sites where these paedophiles are on, and they are getting children. It's like they're not actually in a room together or anything, but they've got the children in a room and they can see everything, and they're making the children do things, you know, and parents are just not watching. They're just allowing their kids to go on all this crap, you know, and we warn them and we warn them, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it, not the parents anyway, you know, and it pees me off, to be honest. What more can you do?
I'm trying to get into the comments room. I'm having a problem getting into it at the moment. Jay, if you can just help us out for a minute until I can actually get onto it.
Okay, what problem are you having with it?
Well, I've opened up another screen and it's asking me to go into the main stream. I paused the small
Have
video.
you have you logged? Have you logged into the chat? Have you logged in yet?
Yeah.
Right. Did you log in now, or was it logged in from last week? Did you type in a username and password and log in, or did it just remember you?
It remembered me.
Right. Then you're seeing what you saw last week. Log out, and because you had this last time, log out and then log back in again.
Okay.
And then it'll all be fine.
Okay. Right. So, can you manage to carry on for a little while, Sue, while I'll have a look in the chat room, see what other people are saying, so I can get involved in the chat room and bring other people into the show, because at the end of the day, this is what we're all about on Wake Up UK. We're trying to get people involved in the chat room and try and bring them into the show. I'm still waiting for Graham. He says he's with someone. He just texts me again and says I'm with somebody else at the moment. But at the end of the day, I've said on 2 occasions now that he can come onto the show, and he's asked if he can come on. At the end of the day, it's, you know, we've got somebody else next week. Glenn Saffers on next week.
Okay.
So and then we go from there with the guests that I want to bring on after that. But I'm going to let you talk for a minute. I'm just going to see if I can do this chat room thing so I can get other people in, because I'm sure Charles and Spearthrower and a few others might be in the chat room. Dave, Joe, many guys that we know, Matt and everybody else. So let me see if I can have a look too. You can carry on for a minute, or Brian, you can come into the chat with
Yes,
us.
Luke, can you continue about that TikTok?
Yes, so carry on with that.
Yeah, it's I mean, I've heard of the site, and I mean, I was coming down the road yesterday with my granddaughter and my great granddaughter, and these kids were dancing across the road. They're only about 13, I suppose. And I said, "Oh, look at them dancing." And my granddaughter said, "They're TikToking." So we was crossing the main road, so I waited till we got across. I said, "TikToking?" She said, "Yeah, you know the site TikTok." So I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, that's a bad site." She said, "Well, they're doing the dancing." So I said to her, "Well, you know, don't have Harper on there. Let her go on it." But yeah, I'm waiting for a list to come of all the sites, and there is an app you can go on. It's called App, and it's like a blue background to it, and that will tell people a lot of things. So parents want to go on to that. It's just called App, and it's blue background. But yeah, there's some big things going down, which I can't say on here, but it will be out very soon.
Isn't this the one what Trump tried to ban in the US?
Probably.
Oh, there was.
There's one, oh, what's it called? Queasley or something like that. And they've got that one stopped. But there, as I say, there is about 150 of them. And the one on TikTok, it's actually a woman that's doing it, you know, abusing, getting the kids to get undressed and what have you.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because most people, I think most general public think that pedophiles are men, but it's not. It's women.
No, far from it. You know, but as I say, it's the parents have got to do something. They've got to start listening to us. We're not saying it for the sake of it. You know, no good crying after the damage is done. You know, it angers me, and also, I think I said it last week. All you see on Facebook is about COVID. COVID. What about the children? The children are still being abused out there. You know.
But personally, I think with the COVID, I mean, this is my opinion. If I offend parents, I'll not apologise, because at the end of the day, putting a needle into a child, if it's like typhoid and stuff, fair enough, but not an experimental jab. You know, it's experimental. It needs at least 10 years to actually have a result. I mean, look at all the injuries now caused. You know what I mean? I mean, there's what's her face's son, the one with the high form of autism. He's now been,
Katie Price.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we've got a comment here in the chat room. We've got a comment in the chat room from AJ. It says, any detail on the individuals on TikTok, i.e. media reports and so on. Has it been in the press, these individuals that you know about? Has it been highlighted or made public?
I'm not sure. I only got told about it today. I've got the names of the people and where they come from.
So, I mean, if it's not publicly out there, I'm guessing it's not responsible to put their name out unless we know it's concrete evidence. Because as much as we want to name people that are paedophiles and then shame them,
I can find that out anyway.
Yeah, but you've got to be careful when you do it, because if you do it and you get it wrong, you're going to get yourself sued.
No,
so you've got to be 100% concrete proof before you name someone as a paedophile, because it's you know.
Well, no, I will find out, because this person sort of.
Yeah, if you can find out the source, though, find out where it came from. See where you get a lot of Chinese. I mean, I recently got called one by someone that didn't like me. You know, people throw the label around like it's like candy, and it is an insult to the victims. You know.
Oh yeah,
But if you could find out
Yeah.
where the person
I
found
will
out
do.
from,
Mm.
and if it stands up and it's a credible source that we can repeat, you know,
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
we'll
no, I will.
we'll scream it from the rooftops, you know, definitely.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I will definitely find out because this
And
person knows.
yeah.
And I did tell her that I would speak about it tonight. You know,
I mean, I do know that TikTok has got a bad reputation for that going on, because there's a lot of teenagers that do use it, including my own daughter, and I'm not happy about it. But when teenagers have social networks and mobile phones, you can't watch over their shoulder every minute of the day, and they are going to
no,
go on these. All you got to do is warn them and teach them about the dangers.
I think
You know?
isn't that Jason what you can put on to stop them accessing it? With their
Yeah, there is, but teenagers and smartphones though, you're never going to stop them going on certain apps if they want to. You got to just make sure they know the dangers and they're aware of the people that are on there, you know, and they know what to do and not to do on the social media sites like TikTok. But yeah,
yeah,
I mean, this is a horrible phrase to say, but I've heard it said many times. TikTok's a paedophile's playground, and it really is, because paedophiles will go where children go. You know, that's why they work in schools. They work in places where, in care homes, of course. You know, as you all know. You know, so yeah, anywhere where there's children or teenagers, it's going to attract nasty
yeah.
bastards. I'm going to say bastards because they are. They're worse than that. You know.
It also
Sorry, I'm
includes-
ranting a bit.
Also includes local councillors too.
Yeah, counsellors in there.
Doctors, everything.
Everywhere. Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So,
We had a doctor at my local hospital got done. He was taking photos of kids and stuff when they were coming in for consultations, you know. And that was at Colchester Hospital, you know. It's everywhere. Teachers, vicars, everywhere. You know, carers,
Yeah.
a lot.
Wasn't there something coming out? I mean, no disrespect to the NHS, no disrespect to Great Ormond Street, but wasn't there something coming out about an investigation into Great Ormond Street? And I mean, honestly, people,
Yeah.
I mean, think what you want, not only you, but the listeners, yeah. And there was something about Great Ormond Street underneath Great Ormond Street.
Yeah,
That
see,
I read, you know.
you got to shake off this
Because
thought
I
that.
read it, it doesn't mean it's true,
Yeah.
but just in case anybody else knows anything else, you know.
Yeah, but we've got to shake off this this belief that paedophiles are dirty anorak men living in a council flat, the weird guy at the end of the road that we tell the kids to stay away from. It's not always the case, you know. Paedophiles can be anywhere, you know, anywhere, you know.
Yeah, do you know, I mean, it's like when I've got my great granddaughter and I take her out on my scooter, and you get like old people do look at them and smile and what have you, and
Yeah.
all you know, you get a lot of old men that do it, and I actually pull her away so they can't see her.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe they're all paedophiles, but you just don't know who to trust anymore.
But then, yeah, that's right. But what a shame if it's a genuine guy who's just, you know, being nice to children with no sinister intention whatsoever. You know, there's a lot of elderly people out there that they've got grandchildren and they see other children and they treat them like their grandchildren. You know,
Yeah,
and they don't. Yeah, but we've got to be so careful nowadays. I've just got another comment here from AJ. He said, "If you could let Jason know, I'll look into them, and if can, I will expose them." So yeah, AJ's got his own YouTube channel. So if you give me the names that you've got and the sources and the info, if it stands up to being a credible source that isn't going to backfire on us as being hearsay or Chinese whisper, then AJ will. I know he'll definitely get the word out for you. You know?
Well, that's why I made, like I said, Jason, that's why I made my mistakes in the past by automatically presuming, you know.
Yeah, you've got to be so careful.
I calmed right down and looked it up, you know, and they looked it up for a long time, and then when I come out with stuff, I can actually back it up, you know.
Yeah, you've got to be. Yeah, you've got to be really careful.
I just looked in the chat room. I just found it. I've managed to get it up now. So,
cool.
As you was reading, I did have problems at first, but I had to do exactly what you get rid of everything and restart it.
Yeah, your computer. I think if you go in there and you're not logged out since last week, it's like a cached version of the page. So you think you're logged in, but you're not. So just refreshing it helps bring things to life for you. But I can see you in there now, Alan. So that's good. And Sandy likes your flag. Oh. Yeah. Can we get a close up of the flag behind you, Alan?
Well, I'm on my laptop, so
Ah,
can you see
okay.
that? It's got the crocodile.
Crocodile logo. What's it say above it? Is that
It's the Beechholme.
Cool.
It's got Beechholme on it. Let me just
Is that a printed or an embroidered? Or?
Beechholme Survive and Save Our Children. That was the very first one we did.
Yeah. Is that a printed one or an embroidered one? I know you're saying it does embroidered.
I think Sandy made that, actual fact.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they're iron-on ones.
Iron-on ones, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Sandy made that for us, and it was one of the first ones we did. And then we changed the crocodile with Beechholme Warriors Survivors. And I put Warriors first because of Sandy and Sue. We've been, sort of like being a sistership kind of group with the Warriors and Sue's Beechholme Warriors. And
We're all Beechholme Warriors.
well, we are all Beechholme Warriors, but I mean we're survivors as well. So I've kept the survivors bit, and I thought I'd keep that because if one page is taken down, and then we can use the other. Sorry, Lizzie, did you want to come in there?
Yeah, because it's relevant before you change the subject, Alan. I can remember back in the summer last year, I genuinely want to buy some T-shirts and different things, and I think you're still a gentleman to do it. So afterwards, I will put my number in the chat box if you could, because I don't think we connected on Facebook. I don't care about that. I would very much like to help, because whatever
We
there
should
is,
be, because I'm sure I was looking for you the other day, and I'm sure I've sent a friend's request or something like that because I had a few problems like Sue was talking about a few weeks ago, and it did affect me as well. With the trolls and with everything that was going on with John and that, and people attack you. And
I mean, it's here. It's fine. I mean, Sue and I are really good
yeah,
friends.
that's I'll sort something out with. Don't worry, no problems.
Because what I wanted to say is that I'm listening to you and I'm learning, and I'm going to listen most, because I have got good relationships with a lot of parents around here, and it's having something visual and be able to give it and whatever. I'll buy them and sell them and then give the money back to whoever, survivors, Beechholme Warriors, whoever, because you've got some amazing designs, and I will do everything I can.
I'm a bit like Jimmy Lee Hat, to be truthful. I mean, I've got some Charlene Downs badges made for Jim, and I think he's done some for Ellie and a few others as well.
Still got this from Nottingham that Sue gave me. And
yeah,
when
Jimmy normally does them. Jimmy does the whistles.
It's having a badge. It's just so brilliant, and having you guys on it, because this is the.
Yeah, I'll send you one.
Yeah.
I'll send you a couple of. Well, I'll do it on my hat.
I'll buy them, otherwise I won't do it. And then
there's the Beechholme one there.
Yeah, and I've got that one in the middle. There was a little boy when I was at Nottingham, and he found that one. He was amazing. The middle one, I've still got that, and the others I've given away to people. Oh,
there's Charlene Downs and John Wedger.
Children.
He's only got a couple because the rest are in my suitcase. Still.
I'll buy them off you, so come on, whatever, because this is.
I've got to send you them ones anyway, Sue, because I keep promising you.
And I'm going to shut up. What a lovely dog. Oh, my dog's messing about with my husband. Oh, he's lovely. He or she? Beautiful, Brian.
He's me pride and joy. He's off there. He's trying to suss out his shoes. I've hid them all over the house, and he's found them.
I want a little Milo.
Is he called Milo? Well, Caleb's here. He's a collie black lab, and he's messing about. He's lovely. So we'll get Sue about 10 dogs and chihuahuas soon, eh?
No,
He's looking at us now with his pitiful eyes. That's not bad, There you go. So that's the last one you're getting. I've got a suss of place to hide these. That's it. I've hid them.
Sandy's not on. I'm quite surprised. I just want to say, for Debbie Young, who's in a coma at the moment through COVID, and I just wish her all the best. There is a slight improvement today.
Sandy's in the chat room, so he's watching in the chat room. I don't know why he hasn't come in. He should come in because he's part of the team. So unless he's doing something, but he's put up. He says hi, Brian, hi, Sue, and that other guy, whoever that is.
Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not happy about the stick he's been getting myself. Like, because I mean, I've known Sandy well over 10 years. You know what I mean? And he knows if I thought for 1 minute there was anything dodgy about Sandy, I would tell him, you know. And at the end of the day, there's not one thing, you know what I mean? And I'll stand up and say that till the cows come home. You know what I mean?
That might be a reason why he's not on, because something might have happened where it's got to him, and he does tend to take it to heart, bless him. And he's quite a strong man, and but he does take it very, very serious. It's like a personal attack on him.
What they've been doing as well is been attacking Jane.
Yeah, that he won't accept.
He can't accept that, and he won't accept it, which is right. You know, there's been no need for it, no need at all for the attacks.
I'm just going to have another look in the chat room because AJ's putting some stuff in. So I'm just going to have another look, Jen. I'm just going to read what AJ's putting. Carry on talking for a minute, so let me have a look in the chat room.
Yeah, so, you know, people have come back that were sort of against him, and now they want to try and get back. Well, no, you can't do that. You cannot put someone down and then expect to come back into their lives and be all normal.
Yeah, because it's called trust.
Yeah, you know.
And it's like AJ said, you can't go about calling people nonsense. You can't go about calling people paedophiles unless you've got the evidence. And at the end of the day, if I thought Sandy was of none, there's no way I'd be talking to him, obviously. You know what I mean? And I'm telling people now.
Can I just say that Sandy's in the waiting room, Alan? I don't know if you're bringing Sandy in or not, but he's in the waiting room. If someone can bring him in.
Let him wait there. He can sit there.
You're in charge, so you're the one that brings people in. You and Alan. So.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, you can.
Can't do it.
You go on participants, and then you see him.
I've got participants.
Okay, you see the waiting room there?
There he is.
There he is.
I've done it.
You didn't hear that doorbell chime, did you?
No, I've just done it.
Cool, excellent.
Right, so he should be in. Oh, come on, Smithy. Oh, God, he's so slow.
There he is.
Oh, he's here at last. He's not on the thing yet. Listen.
You're like on duty, Sandy. He's not speaking.
Hello, lovely Sandy from down here.
That's unusual for him not to speak, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I think we're going to call you Edgeways.
Oh.
Sandy.
Oh. Thought you meant me.
No, not you. Sean put the Jason was doing something with us, and he put Sean's name up as Sean Edgeways Morris, and he sussed on. He said, "What's the Edgeways bit?" And Jason said, "You can't get a word in edgeways."
Definitely with Sandy, you can't either. Has what do you call it? Martin come in? Is he in the chat room?
No. There's nobody else that I can see of anyway.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, he's there. Where you been?
In here.
We can't see your face, Donut. We can only see your head.
Hold on. How's that?
That's Sandy.
That's it. How you doing?
Where you been, Sandy? You late?
I was waiting on a phone call coming in for about Debbie, but I didn't get it. So,
of course, you've got something else in your mind. So, yeah, I'm sorry about Debbie. Yeah, and of course, that's more important. I apologise. Sorry.
That's okay, but our son, he had phoned the hospital, and he's the only one to be told.
Yeah.
So they'll not pass us on any information at the hospital, so we don't know.
As you can see, we're joined by Brian, your mate Brian as well. Brian's in.
How you doing, bro? How are you corner up here?
Yeah, I'm okay, Sandy. I'm just getting attacked by Milo at the minute. Any more tube sticks?
Me, but I'll let Alan go and we show it.
But he was saying, Sandy, and I reiterate what he said earlier on. He's 100%. Brian is 100% behind you, and he said that he's known you for about 10 years, and he has nothing but total and absolute respect for you. So that was Brian earlier, which you probably missed him saying. But just goes to show you've got a lot of respect out there, and a lot of us love you for what you do. And we will always support you, whatever. And And like I said to Sue a few weeks ago, I was getting problems with the trolls and stuff like that, and it did affect me. And I deleted everything. I just went into one and I just deleted everything on Facebook. And sometimes you have this mad paddy, and you just sort of like, oh, I can't be bothered with this shit, and you just fuck it all off.
Yeah.
And it's funny how it does absorb you. Social media can be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Wrong at times, very, very wrong. It goes against what it's supposed to be. You know, it's supposed to be social media, but sometimes it's attacking people for the wrong reasons. Lizzie, are you coming in there? Did you want to come in?
Just very briefly, Sandy, I don't know you, but I just to say that I have seen some photos of you from a friend of mine in Scotland, and it's like, because I just, you know, I don't know what much to say, but I could do a Scottish accent because I'm from there, but like, I just know that you're a good one, right? And can see your hat and all that, you know, and I'll talk like that, but that's all I want to say is it's lovely to see you, and I'll shut up because I'm playing with my dog, you know. Caleb.
Sandy, look.
Yeah. Well, well, I get built up today about my Scottish accent by Kim. That's John Wedger's ad. She goes, sometimes when I speak, she goes, you go into the Scottish accent. She goes very deeply. She goes,
You do.
No, I don't.
I understand him.
Me too, Sue. I love it. When you were in Scotland last year, or you lot, right, Sandy, I didn't have my hearing aids then. And I was watching yours, right? I'm not trying to imitate you, but that's my ancestors and my dad, MacDonald. And I could hear every single word you were saying without my hearing aids in. And it was beautiful accent. It's whereabouts are you from in Scotland, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in a little village called Bridgewere. It's in the west coast of Scotland. It's 20 miles west of Glasgow and 7 miles east of the town of Greenock, and it lies in the northern slopes of the Grieve Valley. It's beautiful. It's a lovely place.
It's a beautiful place.
That's nice.
I mean, when we went up there, Sandy took me for a little trip one day with Jane, and we were looking over the Clyde, and it was just amazing. And I was watching, and I was saying to Sandy, I said, "Christ, them currents in it are very, very strong." And he said, "You wouldn't want to fall in there because the tide is very, very lethal."
Yeah.
Is it the Firth of the Forth? It's not the Firth of the Forth, is it?
It's another Clyde. We were at the fourth
Clyde.
Of Clyde.
Yeah, is that further on? Is it further on in the distance where we were looking at it? It was amazing though, because you could see all the mountains in the distance, and it was fantastic to look at it.
Yeah, well, we were looking onto Argyll Shire. I'll go to that right. We were looking onto Argyll Shire, coming right down to Dumbartonshire, and it's Stirlingshire. So, but I'll need to take you, there's a hill not far from where I live, and they call it Seven Counties Hill, and it's got to be a good day. It's not much a walk up the hill, right, you know, but when you're in the top of it, they call it Seven Counties Hill.
Yeah.
You see 7 counties of Scotland, and that's for Argyllshire, Stirlingshire, Dumbartonshire, Lanarkshire, Perthshire, Renfrewshire, and Ayrshire. That's the 7. So you can see.
So where we stood, Sandy, on that hillside, or you know that it's quite high raised. Were we kind of like looking sort of northeast, northwest?
We were looking up to the north and the east.
Right.
You know, so that's the area that we were.
Yeah, I guess a bit better picture of where we were. Although it seemed like I was looking on the right-hand side. In fact, we were looking north.
Yeah, we were looking up to the sort of left-hand side.
Yeah.
Heading away up north. But it's lovely just now because it snows on the hills. I'll need Oh, it's
I bet that's very scenic. Very. If you're up that way, take a picture and put it on Facebook so we can see it, because it is such a lovely sight to see in Scotland. And
'cause when I go up to visit Jane and I'm coming home, I know I'm home when I see Ben Lomond, because that's in the distance.
yeah.
I get a smile back in your face. I know I'm home. No, but I love it. I do love my area. I can't say I don't.
Oh, it is an absolutely beautiful, picturesque area. The scenery. I mean, I'd be in my element with that water. I mean, I'll try and find some place just to cast me fishing rods and see how I got on.
I'll need to take, when you do come up, stay for a while, and I'll take
Yeah.
you fishing in the River Grife. I'll get you a permit. Come down there, and I'll tell you one thing, Merritt. See if you catch a freaking salmon before me, I'll kill you. That's my ambition, to catch a salmon in that river. All my friends, every bugger's got one bar me. I've got a trout and the sea trout and that. And I've got a few fish on it, but no, I've never been as lucky to get a salmon. And I was out fishing with my mate one day. They thought, oh, yeah, bugger, I've got one, I've got a salmon. You a few bad words, a few Scottish words said that day. You wouldn't understand. Sue would, but you wouldn't.
I caught a really, really beautiful thornback ray. I was in on the east coast of Perth at I'm trying to think of where it is. Is it Hornsey? Hornsey, something like that. And it was a caravan site, and we went on this caravan site with the motorhome. And the guy who was parked next to me, I see him one day, he was getting his fishing rods out. I said to him, yeah, I bought a couple of fishing rods. He said, just to have a go. I says, let us know when you're going and I'll come down with you. And he said to me, I went at 3 o'clock this morning. Well, he was a Scottish guy and he liked to drink. Went out at Berwick-on-Tweed, but his accent's very Scottish. And but he liked to drink. And he got pissed up and he went down and hit this cliff. And I tell him what, I struggled to climb up it, coming back up when we come back. Otherwise, you've got to go all the way round and come back down. He went straight down this cliff at 3 o'clock in the morning. I thought, you're fucking And I didn't have no fresh bait. He had some fresh bait that he had. So he was using fresh bait and he was catching smooth hounds and everything and some really, really nice fish. And I'm standing there for hours and hours and hours and never caught nothing. And all of a sudden my rod went bang like that. And I thought I caught the bloody plug. And I was struggling, and he got hold of the end of my line, and he was pulling it like that as I was winding it in, and it came in, and I thought, oh, what a beautiful fish, and I held it up. I'll have to put a picture up and show you. Massive. It must have been, I would say, 14 to 18 pounds fallback ray. It was lovely, really, really lovely. And then I let it back.
Many years ago, the River Clyde was good, very, very good for fishing. But there's a wee fishing boat goes up and down every day, netting, and it's pulled everything out. You still get small, but the cod, Jesus man, you can pull a £28 cod out of that place at one time. No more. And it's over in the other side in Arica. And it's a hotel over there. And one of the fish I caught out of the Clyde, they've got it in a glass cage. I don't know if they've still got it. And it was just slightly over £28 cod I caught. That was a number of years back. But it's not like that now. It's
died a little bit. So you want to come in there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say he's never going to catch a salmon because he swears all the time, and they don't want to listen to him.
Sandy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's terrible.
And they don't want to listen to his foul mouth, so they keep away from his thing.
I think he's awful. I think his language is disgraceful.
It is disgusting.
It is disgusting, you know. You never won't catch me doing it.
But see, the thing is, you'll never catch an English salmon if you swear. The Scottish ones are different. You've got to swear at them. Where are you, a basket?
Well, obviously it don't work because you ain't caught one yet.
Oh, my mates has caught them.
That's your mates, it's not you.
It's because I do the swearing for them.
We'll do that, Sandy. Because I'd like to do that. It's something I've not done.
I've got all the rods, so yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
I can.
Lissy wants to come in. Lissy, you want to come in?
It's on the subject of salmon. Now, this is somewhere in Scotland. I saw these little salmon leaping, and I'd just like to say thank you, Sue, because they don't like swearing, but Scottish salmon is the best salmon. And I see them leaping up, and that is the most beautiful thing, you know? Just beautiful. It's the most beautiful land of my ancestors, my father. Yeah, right.
I don't know where I was. That I went up to a caravan site. I can't remember where it was, and there was a river, a really fast-running river, and it was going up that way, I'm sure. And what they did is made like, do they call it like a trout or a salmon run? And they built this thing which it's like almost like you'd get on the canals where they have the different levels. You know, to bring the boats down from a rise, or vice versa. And the salmon, and you could walk through it and underneath it, and they were all glassed windows, and you could see the actual salmon doing the journey. Oh, what a sight! It was brilliant.
Yeah, they've got
that.
that.
Sorry, Brian wanted to speak just now,
Sorry.
so I need you to shut up for a minute and let Brian speak.
You tell him, Sue. Go on, you tell him.
It's the way they're farming the Scottish salmon at the minute and what they're injecting it with, isn't it?
Aye.
You know what I mean? A nice piece of salmon is exactly that, pink. But if you're ordering it through the farms, the salmon's actually, if you look at it, it's grey. You know?
There's too much of that in Scotland. There's a mall called Denham Shipping. They've got a lot. They went into that stuff as well. I worked with Denham at one time. And they started getting into this farming with the salmon. That's no, to me, that's no real salmon, if you know what I mean. Because, I don't know, did I switch my mic off? No, I didn't.
No, we can hear you.
We can hear you with your mic off.
Sorry, I've got it in my nose. But anyway, the farm salmon, as Brian was saying there, they're getting injected, they're getting everything, they're getting sea lice, they're getting everything. Nah, it's not the real salmon. And
is sea lice bad then, Sandy? I didn't know. Is that bad?
Aye.
Does that mean if they've got sea lice, does that mean they get it through being encaged?
It encourages it more.
Any fish can get it, but more so if they're kept in an enclosure.
Yeah.
They'll just keep spreading it. But it's a shame for it. It's a shame because if we get an itch, you know, we can scratch it. But if fish isn't any arms, they maybe have fingers, you know, fish fingers, but they've no arms. So they can't scratch their itch. You know, so it's a bit of a shame.
Oh, I'm glad the thing of, you know, fishing's finished because it done.
Anyway, I'm going to tell you about a story.
I don't know.
Like fish fingers instead, like fish fingers. I like fish fingers. I'm just going to. I'm going to listen. I've got to go, right? Because I don't want to go, but thank you for having me. And there's some room for somebody else. And I ain't going, but I've got to get up because I might be going somewhere tomorrow. So good night and salmon bless.
Maybe see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I love you.
I loved that conversation, and it's got some lovely. I've got nice things to say. Glad we've got the trolls and the salmon under the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Can leap over the trolls. Do you know what I mean? Like get under there and the salmon will jump over.
At least that's finished, Lisa, isn't it? At least that's finished. You know what I mean?
Well, Brian, I want to say it's lovely to get to know you, and also love that you've got Milo, the dog. Yeah. So goodbye. I'll just go.
It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear someone spoke about it in Scotland and not mean politics.
And Jason, thank you for educating me about Boris and the Karloffs in America, and I'll remember that.
Yeah, look out.
You don't have to go just yet, Lissy.
Okay.
I'm going to be going off shortly myself, but I want to read a statement out. And I've been waiting for a white opportunity, and I've been waiting for Graham to come onto the show. But I'm going to read a statement out in a minute. So when you guys are ready, if you can mute yourself, I'll read a statement out and let you know what Graham's just sent me. I just had a clip a quick glimpse through it to make sure it was all right to read out on air. So what I'll do is, if when you guys are ready for me, I'll read it out, and so you can hear it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready? Let me just get into it. My phone's locked on me now. Okay, right. So it says, right. Hi, Owen. Right. My son and grandson are here. Let me give you this statement to read out for me. I must apologise for the delay in my appearance on the radio. I am lucky that my life has taken me in quite a few different directions. And now is the time for my story and the Beechholme story. And it's been betrayed by a few different ideas and viewpoints. Over the years, the council have been allowed to ignore and abuse and fend off the calls for justice. Greedies of the world that crept into these individuals were allowed to plug you realistic figures to individuals. Because of lies and half truths, the worst thing with this was individuals making up lies that they were someone else and pretending to be an abused victim living in the Ukraine. Hopefully, I might get to you, but I cannot throw him out. I don't know what that's about. Hopefully, I might get to you, but I cannot throw him out. So what he's saying, basically, if I go back to the video, my son and grandson are here, so he's got company. Whether it's just turned up, whether it's just off the cuff, and it's just appeared. He's written a statement. I don't know if you could get it all, but it sounds like he's got a few issues or a few problems. Did you get kind of the best of it or the gist of it? What I said, and what I try to read it slowly, and he said, and I totally agree with him. And he said, I must apologise for the appearance on the radio. We're all going live. He wants to tell his story, and he wants to be like me and Sue and many other survivors that have come on and told our stories. You can name the Blair brothers and a lot of other, and Sandy and a lot of other people. And Lissy will one day probably sit down and tell her story. He's just gone on to say that his life has taken him in different directions, which he's done for all of us. Sue will back him up on that, so will Sandy and I. And over the years, the council have been allowed to ignore, abused, and fend off calls for justice. Well, that's very, very true, and also what he says, because they will do everything in their powers to try and sweep it under the carpet. And yeah, he's very, very true in saying that. We know about the greed and we know about the corruption in the councils, because that's a realistic thing that anybody could say, because we know that it goes on and it's been going on, and it's a problem in everything that they do. I don't get the bit at the bottom, which has been something about, was someone else pretending to be an abused victim living in the Ukraine. Hopefully I might get to you, but cannot throw him out. So I don't know what that means, whether he's got somebody with him who claims to be an abused victim from the Ukraine. So sorry, mate, you want to come in?
I know about the Ukraine thing. That's not what, he's not there with him.
Oh, right.
He's actually talking about someone pretending, which was, and I'll tell you, it was from the other group.
Yeah.
Claiming that they'd got money off of Wandsworth Council.
Yeah.
For the abuse.
I remember seeing something like that. Was it 25 grand?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. And then it was obviously all lies.
Yeah.
Which was wrong. So, which I think was to do with that Samuel Johnson.
Yeah, I think it was actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna message him back and say, try and get on, because it would be nice if, while all us guys are here, I'll come to you in a minute, Bri. While all us guys are here, if we can sort of make him welcome, because from what I'm reading and what I'm sensing, whether I'm wrong, he needs some help, or he needs our help. Let's put it a different way. He probably needs our help. I mean, look, I'm talking to survivors. Everybody in this room is a survivor. And this show is basically based on survivors. And we can't cast another survivor aside. You know, I'm sorry I haven't got into the chat room. I will. AJ and you guys are in there. I will come to you in a minute, but I'm trying to, hopefully, I wanted to get Graham on tonight so he could tell his story because, you know, being truthful, Graham did start up the group in the beginning, but we had one or two problems. We unfortunately know that every group that gets going, there's a problem in it somewhere along the line, and there is infighting and there's jealousy, and whatever happens, I don't know, some people have got different agendas, and you can get caught out. So
Yeah.
I'm going to text him, Sue. Do you want to have a little chat for a little bit? I'm just going to text him and say, try and come on if you can.
Yeah, we'd like
Let's
to
come
come
on
on.
next week. So you're watching the screen. Lissy just put her hand up, so I'm going to mute myself. And Brian wanted to say something as well. So let them guys talk while I can hear you guys. So I'm not ignoring you. I am listening, and I will follow up on it in a bit. So if you carry on, guys, I just want to message Graham because I feel there's more into it than. Let me deal with it for a minute. And
Can I just ask a question before Brian speaks? Are you saying that you're going to get him on tonight or a different week? That's all.
I'm trying to get him on tonight.
Well, I'm going to stay to be there. Sorry, Brian, you speak because I can do what I'm doing.
I'll let you know what happens in a minute. Let me just try something.
If you're listening, Graham, any indifferences we've had in the past is over. I don't hold anything, you know, and it was purely down to me. So at the end of the day, I would like to say live, I apologise for certain thing, what's happened in the past.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, I want to bring something up to you about Wilfred Wong. Everybody was writing to him, right, including Jean. Now, Jean never got a reply from him, right? But she did get a reply from some associates asking her to email all these people to say what a good person he is, which I think is wrong. You know? Why should she email these people? He didn't have the decency to write back to her herself.
But directly to us, and when you're stuck in prison, you're actually glad to have bloody letters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to actually get in contact through an email, you know what I mean? No, that's not good.
Jackie's coming in.
Can I just say something quickly on that?
Oh God, here comes Jackie.
Controversial that the person we're speaking about, I wrote to as well and didn't get a reply, and I am being very careful knowing that certain people who have been organising campaigns and doing whatever, I just think that you can't have going around asking people to do things and write to things and do that, and I'm very sad that happened, but I didn't get a reply for twice from him, and you know, I think you get a lot of letters while you're in the nick, but I'm sorry that happened to Jean because it takes a lot of effort to write and to do that. And I can't say anything more at the moment, but I will share about that some other time. Yeah, but thank you. Yeah.
Hello, Jack.
All right, darling, how you doing?
I'm all right. You okay?
Good. Hi to everybody.
Hello, Jackie.
Is everyone doing all okay?
Yeah, we're fine. That Sandy's being a bit ignorant, isn't he? Didn't say hello to you, Jackie. Cool. He's getting...
Hi, Jack.
All right, Al.
What I was doing, Jack, I was doing something in the background, and I have to apologise to our viewers for the abruptness of my co-host Sue. She does get out of the cage sometimes, and we tend to make sure it's locked up at night so she's not out after midnight. Thank you very much anyway, Sue, for your
that's all right. You're quite welcome.
But anyway, let's get back to what I was doing with Graham. Now, I read what Graham said in his statement to us, and I've just sent around and said, look, the guys wanted to come on. Brian wants to apologise to you himself. Sue and me want this to happen. Would you try and come on when we welcome you back? Please try. I can't say much more than that, but I'm trying to get him to come back on.
Oh,
I've got a funny feeling there's more to this than meets the eye.
Yeah.
It's like if I was to say to you guys, it's almost like a call. You know, it's a call, not a call to arms, a call for help in some respects. I think he feels like he's on his own now, and to me, he's a survivor.
Yeah, but I think we can help each other.
Yeah, well
We
said. Sue.
can help each other
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that 100%, and I want it to happen. So I want him to come on. There might be other issues. We know, and it's going to be a little bit awkward because we know his wife was being treated for cancer.
yeah, still is.
What's happened with the pandemic is put everything probably to side. So it's like I said earlier on, what Boris Johnson says and what he promises is another thing. So I don't know. I would like him to come on because I would like to welcome him to the fold and welcome him back as a survivor. And you know, me and Sue with you guys will just welcome him back on board.
Yeah, Jackie, Graham is a survivor of Beechholme.
all right.
He used to run the Beechholme Survivors, and then things went, wrong, and Alan took over the Survivors, and we created the Warriors as well. So we hadn't spoken for a while, and now we've sort of brought him back in, and hopefully he can help us. But he is supposed to be on tonight with us.
I don't get it when he says, "Hi, Alan, my son and grandson are here. Let me give you this statement to read out for me. I must apologise for my delay in my appearance on the radio show. I am lucky that my life has taken me in quite a few different directions. Now is the time for my story and the Beechholme story to be told, basically." Graham's got a good story to tell because he was abused at a very, very young age. And I think with Graham, he was quite a really young age. I think we're talking about 3 or 4.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And that was in Beechholme. And then when you get the likes of Jean turning around and saying she had the carbolic treatment and the scrubbing brush and the slapping and beatings and making her skin bleed with the treatment she was getting. And when I turned around and said it, and I thought I was kind of like a lone wolf and was saying it, and I thought people won't believe that human beings would do that to a child. And then I was talking to Sandy and got talking to Sandy, and Sandy said they did exactly the same in Quarriers. And then Jean came on one day and she said they'd done exactly the same in the 1950s. And Sue started talking about how bad the treatment was and so on and so forth. And the treatment of Graham was really quite bad. I think he had house parents called the Farmers, didn't he?
I can't remember. That was before my time, but
It's terrible. Whatever way you look at it or whatever way you try to think about it, it's disgusting to think that a grown adult who's supposed to be looking after a child and making sure their well-being is 100%
Yeah.
can then do what they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
it's sickening. And I would happily slit every fucking paedophile's throat and sling them out to the wolves or let the foxes eat on them for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You know, because
Let
they
me just
don't
read
deserve
this.
the break.
This
Yeah,
is
that we breathe. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Al.
Sorry, I didn't know. I thought somebody was talking.
Yeah, I was, but
Jackie
I'm
was.
finished now.
Go on, Jack. Go on.
No, I just said that they don't deserve to breathe the air that we breathe.
No, they don't.
Let me just read this last bit again and see what. Right. So he was saying the Beechholme story needs to be told, and it's betrayed by a few different ideas and viewpoints. Over the years, the council have allowed to ignore and abuse and fend off calls for justice. Well, we've known that because look how long it's taken for us to get our care records, and look at the amount of letters that are written to councillors, Labour and Conservative councillors in town halls, and then you've got chairmen and councillors and all sorts of rubbish, and they just totally ignore it. And then, anyway, let me just read what you're saying. Allow this to be ignored and calls for justice. Greed is the world that crept into these individuals. Were allowed to plug you realistic figures. I don't know what that means. To individuals because of lies and half-truths. The worst thing with this was individuals making up lies that they were someone else pretending to be abused victims living in the Ukraine. Hopefully I might get to you, but I cannot throw him out. So
His son. His son.
Is it his son?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more, Sue.
Well, I mean, I know about the Ukraine thing, and I'm sure it was to do with Samuel Johnson, who was a wrong one anyway, who went with the other Beechholme, because at one time there was 3 Beechholme groups.
That's right.
The first lot that pulled away from us, and then there was the survivors, and then there's our sister. The other group's still going as well, but they don't tend to sort of mix with us. I don't know why. You know, because I did ask them the same as I asked Alan that we should unite. You know, we could still keep our groups, but we should all unite and join together for the fight. But they've obviously don't want to know. So that's down to them. We can still carry on with what we're doing, you know. But yeah, the Ukraine thing was a nasty thing to do, a really nasty thing to do, because it gave out hope to others to go forward.
Yeah, very, very well said, Sue. You said that perfectly, darling.
You know, he said he got £25,000, which ain't a lot for what we went through anyway.
No. Sandy, I don't know if you are looking in the chat room, because you got good at it the other night. I was watching you, and you came in one of the chat rooms, and you was watching through the chat room. Chat room's open at the moment. Let me just see if I can go and find out. Charles Ernest Spencer saying something like, us sweaties have got to stick together. You know the Doncaster thing that you said, where if the Scottish took Doncaster and it was never given back or something, and to the Scots to say you could have it back. But I mean, let me just have a look, see what else has been put in there. I'll come back to you in a minute. But are you looking in the chat room? Do you know how to do it now, Sandy?
No, I forgot.
Yeah, let me have a look. So we've got AJ.
You liar, Sandy. You was in the chat room earlier. You're lying, Sandy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Sneaky git. Don't know how to do it. You do know how to do it.
Opportunity.
I'm only chatty, but aye.
Evening, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.
Hello, Jane.
Hiya. Just
How you doing, Jane? Are you okay?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm a bit worried about Debbie, but hey,
Well,
just have
I
to.
understand, sweetheart.
Yeah. Just...
Right.
Hiya, darling.
Hello, mate.
You okay, Jane?
You're there. I could hear you, but I couldn't see you, and it's just nice to see you. Are you okay?
I will be when Debbie's out of intensive care. I know I couldn't lose someone else now.
No, yeah.
Jane, didn't you have something to tell Alan about the Lord and Lady?
Oh yes. Sue got a mug with her thing, so she's higher up than you.
And on my mug, it says Her Ladyship.
Oh my God.
So you've got to be nice to her and polite to her.
Oh, of course, I'm always polite to her, Jane.
Wait a minute.
It's only when I'm in Sandy's company that I become a bad boy.
I'm sorry?
It's only when I'm in Sandy's company that I become a bad boy.
That's it.
You're not a bad boy.
It has terrible influence on me, Sandy.
You know, I think, Alan, you should be calling me Lady Lorraine now.
And we've got to show him a wee bit of respect as well.
I do show her a lot of respect. She gets away with murder, to be truthful. So don't let her pull the wool over anybody's eyes. She's still getting locked up for midnight.
You know what I love about you is like we're all one big family. And Brian, see, when I was down in London, and Brian took over as being my official wheelchair, but he cared for me so lovely. It was like having a brother, like having a big brother, and he made sure I was safe, and because I was so scared. No, he did. You looked after me. You were away up to God knows.
Like I say, I remember that day. Like,
Remember that?
I was wondering where Sandy disappeared.
Yeah, and I was just stuck in a wheelchair.
I thought the Lord got hold of you.
No.
But they had
I went away up to the top end that day, and when I come back, there were no bugger there.
No, but Brian,
whereas everybody
I was left
in London.
Sandy, I was left sitting in a wheelchair, and thankfully Brian was there. You took over as my minder, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I've still got the video for that, James.
I could have got mugged down there.
They were away.
And guess who went and found Sandy? Jean.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually was in having tea with the Queen. I went in and I goes, Lizzie, stick a kettle on, I need some tea.
Well, when David, I've tried and he's no answering, so I'm going to phone him again. So I'll let you get back to your show. Love you all to bits.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks for coming on,
Jane.
We love you.
Okay.
Bye, Jane.
Actually, Brian is a good guy because he turns around and says, I said to him, you don't need to ask to come on the show. And he said, look, Alan, you know, just out of politeness, I'd do it. And he's a respectful guy, to be truthful.
Yeah.
No,
definitely.
Thank you,
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Good guy.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw Sue in the deep end. And I'm going to let you guys chat between yourselves. And I'm going to have a little bit of an early one this time. And I'm going to let you carry on because Graham doesn't look like it's going to be a no-show. And I don't know. There is something going on, but we'll have to try and get him on another one.
Yes, something going
on. There is. If you carry on, I don't know because you're co-host, Sue, so you should be allowed to carry on with the show.
Okay,
Jason.
So again, Alan, are you burning out? Are you, Alan?
Well, I'm doing something. I've got something I want to do.
Are you lightweight?
But can Sue carry on?
If she wants to, she can. It's up to Sue.
Yeah, I'll carry on.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get in touch with Graham off air, try and have a little bit of a chat with him, and try and make it an appointment for the night. If something's going on, something's not right. Listen, as survivors, I don't care what anybody says. It will live with us for the rest of our lives. What happened to us, we will never forget it. I certainly won't.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Alan. I'll make Jackie and Sandy co-hosting Zoom because Jackie knows how to do it, I think, and Sandy's got to learn. So that means if anyone else tries to get in, or when you try and get back in, they'll be able to bring you in. If I'm not,
yeah, brilliant. Yeah, because I might come back in. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Might be going to come back in now.
Yeah, I will do. I'm just going to do something, babe. So I've got a funny feeling. Just trust me. I've got a funny feeling. Brian, what do you want to say, mate?
Yes, Sandy. What's the latest on the child abuse snatch in Scotland? Obviously, it's not related to. It's not related to the Romanian. Was it Romanian? It was a separate one, wasn't it?
I'll see you in a minute, guys. See you in a minute, Jack.
Right. No, there's a lot of shit happening up here, and there's an area, a Glasgow called Govan Hill, which is Nicola Sturgeon's constituency. So one of the other girls from one of our teams, we worked together, and she contacted Sturgeon, and Sturgeon was denying that any abuse ever happened. There was nothing reported to the police, which was a load of bullshit because there were, let me think, there were 20 arrested within a week up in our constituency in Govan Hill, and that was in Allison Street, 20 of them.
In the one street?
Yeah, and she denied that. We've got it on proof.
Yeah, because I did read something in the Scottish Herald or something, where there'd actually been a number of arrests.
I don't want to. There's a reason I don't want to talk too much.
All right, sorry, Sandy, I apologise.
No, sorry, it's okay. Just trying to check this. I've got everything all written down, so I know. And the 11th. And the 11th of March, I've got people coming on the show, and they'll be talking about all this. You know, so that's on the 11th of March. We'll be talking about the abuse that's happening up here, especially in Glasgow. You know, as well, we'll be going on about Aberdeen.
Yeah, I remember, like I said, Sunday.
You know, we know that story.
Yeah, I can mention Aberdeen because I was up there years ago. It was just before the Holly Gregg case. I'd been invited up doing a little bit of like around the country and that, and I went into this pub on the docks, and I tell you what, it was rough. I mean, I'm from the northeast. I've seen some rough pubs, you know what I mean? But I tell you what, it just looked really odd. And the bloke I was with used to look after the prostitutes around the area. Obviously, the docks, sailors, stuff, you know what I mean. And I tell you what, it was so like, I don't know, it was so like weird to me. Like, not Scotland, no disrespect to the Scottish, but it was just like the way people were acting when you were mentioning the issue. The issue around Holly Gregg, when it was just starting, around the actual abuse itself. I mean, no, it was just like, it was like more of a brick wall up there than there was in England. I mean, that's no disrespect to the Scottish, mind you.
No, but it's true. The abuse up here, it's going on and it's covered up. I mean, even in Stirling, that's another. That's big cases up there. They wouldn't even give us permission to hold an event up there.
I remember that, Sunday.
That's true. You know, so that's how we did change our event. That did me.
Do you find apart from Glasgow, do you find further up into the Highlands, where like the Highland councils, it's much more. Yeah. Is that because of the clan aspect, or?
I couldn't say why. You know, they cover up a lot. You know, I mean, if you remember a few years ago, a group that we were with, they tried to go over, was it Orne or Shetlands? And it was a case of no, you know, and this is what happens. But they were going to go, but I don't know what happened there with them. I gave up that mob. But you do find that places where you want to try and hold events, you're not back a hell of a lot. You know, they're trying to limit us where we can hold, you know, like rallies, conferences about child abuse. We got a heck of a lot up here, a heck of a lot of that, which I say I'll be talking about later, all about this and how it's all covered up and how they go about covering it up. Because I'm going to go into a bit of Scottish Parliament with what I seen when I was there, you know, and things, and been told things. I've got to watch what I say, because if I go too deep, I could end up.
Well, I can say this: the leader of Sunderland City Council, who's Labour, actually come from Glasgow, from the shipping area. I'll get the big shipping on the Clyde, And the thing is, at the last election council, I stood for local election, it wasn't an argument at first, but it was afterwards, right? And he actually said that he would give all his councillors a full check to see if they're capable of working with children, but he's denied that. You know what I mean? And considering that there's been a number of Sunderland City councillors done for actually child abuse, one of them was given 16 years. Yeah. Now, logically, what paedophile these days gets 16 years? It's not known. You know what I mean? So, and this was during the time when I tried to kick off with Witherwack. You know what I mean? So I kept a general eye out on the council, you know, and what they were up to, you know. And what they're doing is, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm wrong, I'll apologise to them, which is very rare for me, because I think they're all scum anyway. You know what I mean? but I'll apologise if I'm wrong. And as far as I'm concerned, what they're doing is, yeah, and it's going to be made official, they are covering up for a child abuse ring in Sunderland. Yeah. One councillor got done for getting on the phone to a young kid saying, "Do you like adult fun?" That wasn't by any of these paedophile hunters. This was by the police. So it was the police. So at the end of the day, the police were monitoring them to do that in the first place. Secondly, a long-serving councillor, Tommy Wright, yeah, who worked within the Sea Cadets, yeah. He also had a lot of very heavy interest in taxi firms and stuff like that, yeah. But the thing is, there's a lot more to it, and there's also an issue. I've come across a statement where a 14-year-old, when she was 14, she was raped by the local councillor who was still on the council. So this was after I'd left care, yeah. And the fact is that I've read these statements with permission, yeah. And the fact is, as far as I'm concerned, these statements are true. I don't know how true this is, but I've been told of somebody within authority, yeah, that they did do a test with his blood, and the blood come back to say that when the bairn was basically raped, obviously the bairn had the child, yeah, and this councillor is the child's father.
Can I just? I'm just going to leave for a minute because I want to get this stuff to AJ, and I just need to contact someone so that I can think. But I will be back. Okay.
Okay. Can I bring something up that we're having in the chat room? Me and Jackie are having a little chat in the chat room, and I hate typing, and Jackie probably hates typing too. So we're discussing the death penalty for paedophiles, and AJ was in the chat room, and he said he's kind of anti the death penalty, and to a certain extent I am as well. But when it comes to paedophiles, I would like to be the first person to say needle in the arm.
Well, I'll say it, like I said, Jason, sorry to interrupt. I'm strong on this point on the death penalty. Also, I'm saying this as a survivor. I'm saying this as a parent. I know people say, well, in the eyes of God, you can't kill, right?
No, I'm
abuser.
God, he ain't done nothing to stop.
But let me. Can I just finish what I was saying, though, guys? My personal opinion is if you've got definitive, concrete proof that a person's a paedophile, like DNA evidence, or they've been caught in the act, or there's a multitude of victims all with the same situation, so there's a combination of evidence that proves a person's guilty. I would be the first person to agree with the death penalty. But at the same time, there has been miscarriages of justice. Okay, an example would be where like a teenage girl accuses her teacher, and it turns out just before it goes to court that the girl made it up and she tried it on with the teacher, and of course got rejected. Didn't want to admit that she flirted with the teacher because she was embarrassed, so she made out that he tried it on with her. This has happened, and people have gone to court when they've not been guilty. Okay, so you wouldn't want to be killing a person if they hadn't done anything wrong.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is, Jason,
if someone's a paedophile, as clear as day a paedophile, then by all means,
even a person more kills a child.
Yeah, of course, they're a danger to children straight away. Definitely, I agree. But at the same time, you've got to be certain that the person's guilty.
Right, if the evidence is there, 100%.
Yeah, but
that's why I said, Jason, the DNA.
Yeah, DNA would be proof. Yeah,
is yours and yours only.
Yeah, or if they're caught in the act.
You and I wouldn't be a match with DNA. Yours is different to mine.
Yeah,
even twins are different in DNA.
Yeah, but what I was saying in the
if there's DNA there, then there's 100% proof without a shadow of a doubt.
The thing is, Jackie, there's not always DNA because that DNA.
No, that's right, there isn't.
Yeah, I mean, if it's historic child abuse, like from a care home, as we've spoken about here, there's not DNA evidence to go on, so that makes it harder. Okay, and then when you've got a certain number of years between the abuse and it being reported, that makes it more difficult to prove. And I'm sure Alan and Sandy and Sue will all agree that a lot of cases don't go as far as court. They get thrown out or they get not guilties. You know.
Sorry.
So you come in, Sandy.
In that case, Jason, In that case, let's hope these 5 new super
Yeah.
prisons are opening up after the nonsense for life. And
'Cause I've heard you guys say that when you go to report these things to the police, they really don't. They really try to discourage you and warn you that only like a certain, is it 5% are successful in prosecution, and because of lack of evidence and the time and
well,
things
simple,
like
isn't it? Because the
lack of
CBS
lack of records as
files
well.
themselves, especially when they had somebody like Starmer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm. He was the biggest arsehole there ever was to could have been Home Secretary, because he stopped Jimmy Savile being prosecuted.
Well, Starmer was head of the CBS when he was involved with my case.
Yeah, well, he's an arsehole. How the hell he's ever got to be Labour leader is beyond me, but then that's politics for you.
Well, he'll be for long, isn't it?
Go on, Sandy, sorry.
Yeah, I want to go back a wee bit here, Jackie. I want to go back to what Jason was talking about there. I agree there that you've got to be careful with this. You know, I'm in favour of the death penalty 100, not 100, but 1,000,000 times% I am. But you've got to watch. Now, we had a case, and this person, I'll not mention their name, but they gave a full statement to the police that they were abused in Quarriers Orphan Homes. They gave evidence that it's Scottish child abuse. They were abused in Quarriers Orphan Homes. And they felt like eventually it was a man, and he got in contact with us, and I started talking to him, and I found out that he never was in Quarriers Orphan Homes. He was trying to get money. Now, that guy, he made a couple of mistakes because he couldn't remember. He knew it was before. It was about the 1950s he was in, but he didn't know the exact year. You never forget the years.
Yeah.
The dates, aye, that's true, we all do, but you never forget the year for some reason. Now, this guy stated he was in Quarriers during the 1950s. My next question, what cottage were you in? He went cottage 20. Who was your cottage parents? Because it was a Mr. and Mrs. blah, blah, blah. Right, no bother. Right away, I knew he was a liar. I knew he was a liar just with that statement. He was in cottage 20 and the cottage parents, because the cottage parents he was saying was not true. And when I questioned him about these things he'd been saying, he disappeared and he withdrew his statement. Now, that could don't somebody innocent be charged. Because the thing was, in cottage 20, during that time, Jane was in that cottage, and the cottage parent, it was a cottage mother and a cottage aunt, it was in it, not a cottage father or mother. So you have got to be.
Yeah, I mean, if someone got a death sentence as a result of that, and then you found out after it was too late that it was a false claim, someone's died as an innocent person.
Yeah.
So you've got to be 100%. You know.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jason. You've got to be 100%. But there are still cases that are 100%, but they get chucked out because of this stupid little loophole.
Yeah.
And every loophole has got to be crossed, dotted, T'd and I'd and God knows what else. Protect the children. Fuck the paedophile. Protect the children.
But you can do polygraph tests, but we don't use that. We don't use polygraph tests here in the UK, and there's a lot of states in America don't use it.
Yeah.
I started querying why the hell. Now, we're led to believe that polygraph tests are not 100% true. That is true, they're not 100, but they're 99.99% true. That's how we don't use them in this country. Because if we had to put half our MPs onto that, there'd be a lot of questions needing answered.
Sandy, let Sue come in. She wants to say something. Go on, Sue.
Yeah, I want to speak to Jason, actually. Jason.
Hi, Sandy. I mean, hi, Sue.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Sue.
Jason, I've sent you some things for AJ.
Okay, excellent.
But I need to talk to you because I can't give it over the air.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So when do you want me to speak to you so you can pass it on?
You want to do a Facebook call after this live stream?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do that.
But I have sent you the things that I've been sent, and they have been sent to them as prolific.
Right, okay.
So Okay.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
pass it on, and maybe you could speak to AJ as well, if that's okay. If I put
Yeah.
you and AJ up, you can speak. If he's got any questions,
Yeah.
it's best to come straight to you rather than ask me, then I ask you, and then I'll relay it back.
Yeah.
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 Oh, very good.
Okay.
Cool.
That was it. Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
Are we
Andy.
all right, guys? Or
Yeah. What about the case? What about Jason? What about the case to do with Jason Swift, Sidney Cook? Obviously, the gang. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, there's no doubt he killed them children, and initially it was Jason, and then there was a few more, wasn't there? But surely if that's the case of the evidence there, then why shouldn't have him? Why shouldn't have he? Then why should he be given that privilege of living life when Jason never? You know what I mean?
Same with all children.
You know,
All,
Yeah.
it was proven he killed the kids, same as Robert Oliver and the rest of them, yeah. But and I mean, obviously, Catweasel got took out in Nottingham prison, didn't he? You know what I mean? But the thing is, yeah, it was proven beyond reasonable doubt, no direction by the judge, but beyond reasonable doubt that the done it, but he was given life. You know what I mean? That's not good enough. That's not good enough to somebody who has to go through. I'm sorry, that's not good enough to somebody who has to go through and realise that these paedophiles who are ultimately guilty are being looked after at a cost of in segregation, whatever, at a cost of how many thousands of pounds a week.
do what's coming?
I've worked. I don't want my taxpayer money going on them.
no.
I know.
Well, I think that all paedophiles, the prisons are getting full up with them. You know, we're not going to have any normal prisoners. They're going to be full of paedophiles.
Like super prisons being built, isn't it?
Four more, aren't they? 4 more buildings being built.
They should be given the COVID vaccine. They should be tested on, like they test the animals.
Yep.
Right, and they should be castrated. You know, hopefully the COVID virus kills them first, or the testing that they do on animals. You know, because we can't keep filling the prisons up with them.
Can I just say something? I feel that the root of it and the heart of it is the central government. Now, if you take one individual, well, let's just say one individual. Now, Keir Starmer is the opposition leader. He was head of the CPS when Jimmy Savile, a prolific paedophile, we're talking about hundreds, if not 500 people or more, and corpses, the warped and weird man that the most weirdest and strangest things that you would think a human being would do to another human being. And Keir Starmer allowed this man to abuse at will. And it was disgusting to let a man who was head of the CPS to allow Jimmy Savile to fucking go free.
Yep, spot on.
Well, Kiss, you know, like Moira, he was her local MP, and she went to him about the abuse, told him everything, and half the time he wouldn't even acknowledge her. He'd get someone else to send a phone or whatever. And I wonder, because he was all in it.
That
The sad thing was when we saw.
right on the head there, Sue. The
The sad
majority
thing was when.
are
Sorry,
complicit
Jack.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, we've had no help from anybody.
No.
No, nothing. You know, we went to Parliament and did a demo.
Yeah.
But before that, we had given a report out. We had to get to, I think, 6 different councils by 11 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
And me and Moira did 3 councils. 2 of them wouldn't come down and take the report, so we gave it to security guards, and we took a picture of us handing it over, and then we went to Camden, and we was going all across London doing this, and we took it to Camden, and the bloke was really nice there. He invited us in to talk, promised us all the help, everything.
Come to you in a minute, Sandy.
and then we didn't. We got nothing from him. And then 2 o'clock that day, we went up to Downing Street and handed a report in to Theresa May.
She was standing
And
outside 10 Downing Street, Jack. We've got a picture of Sue outside Downing Street, waiting to hand the interim report in. And I took it to the Home Office, and Sue came to the Home Office with me to see my MP. We actually got into the Home Office.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
But
had
nothing.
Sue had Victoria Atkins MP in. Was it a PA?
Yeah.
Black girl. The black
Victoria,
girl. You had her in tears.
from up here, isn't she?
Sorry?
Victoria Atkins from up here?
Yeah, she's my constituent MP for Lincolnshire.
All right, I thought she was from up here.
No, she's Horncastle and Louth.
Oh, it must be somebody else. I do apologise.
Her father was an MP as well.
Yeah, we did get to the Home Office, which was.
She got in the back door because of her links to her father. Like they do.
Sorry, Sue, continue. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, they just asked our stories. John Wedger was with us, and he said his name, and she said, "I don't want to listen to you." Right, then Graham spoke, I spoke, and then Moira spoke, and they was actually crying their eyes out. Right, crying. This black lady, bless her, she really was upset, and I was the last one out, and she came out with me, and she was saying, "I'm so sorry for what happened to you, and we'll do everything we can. It should never have happened to you." And I said, "Thank you," but it's not your fault. We're not blaming you. You know, you don't have to apologise for something that's not your fault. She said, "But we will do everything we can to help you." Nothing was ever done for us.
That's over 2 years now.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
You know.
It's like I said at the top of this show about, Boris Johnson turning around and saying money, £6 million spaffed up the wall. And then he's turned around and said, "I didn't say that." Right?
Yeah,
and there's a video of him, saying it, and there's a video of him saying, "I've got the video." It's because what we've done is link Beechholme to him turning around and saying money spaffed up the wall and children being abused in Beechholme. I put the video out there. I'll put it out again after the show.
Historic abuse.
Yeah. And he's saying 6 months ago, an inquiry into the pandemic will happen very shortly. Well, 6 months down the line.
I'll go, like I say, Alan, I'll go so far as to say the inquiry is an absolute arse from the start to the end. It was an absolute arse. For starters, the amount of senior judges what were given the job, one resigns, the other one gets kicked out, one takes over. That's not good enough for survivors. I've been to Inks and the way they run it, as you know, Alan. I was asked to speak many years. Well, Paul must be getting on for about 2 or 3 years ago. I was asked to speak. You know,
you was part of the Truth Project, weren't you?
Yeah, and I says to them when I done the interview, you know, I'd done tape about LB, and it was only Kaz what told us later that I'm under the Official Secrets Act. That was in the small print. You know what you sign when you do your statement, and it's on the stick and you sign it to say that you've made this. You know, in the small print, I'm under the bloody Official Secrets Act. Now, many other survivors would have made their statements, right, thinking that they can go down and make a statement, yeah, we're getting somewhere. That's the first part. But the second part is, once you've made that statement to INCSA, you can't talk about it.
Let me tell you a little bit about John Wedger. John Wedger had immunity from prosecution and being approached because ICSA and the government body or a common select meeting invited John Wedger to the Westminster for a select committee meeting. Then John was going to
Parliamentary Select Committee,
yeah, and he was going to speak at this meeting. Now he got, and it was strange because the police never used to touch John, and he wouldn't walk into confrontation. He would walk away from it. Now he wasn't going to get them involved in what happened to him and whatever happened to him, in the past. and he wasn't going to denigrate them to, you know, something that he was involved in. And I mean, I remember I've seen videos where John's walking down the road going towards Parliament Square, and there's a bobby in a doorway, and this
Yeah.
bobby says, "I remember you." And he said to me, "You was at," he said, "That's right, how are you?" He said, "I've always watched yours. This is a fellow copper that's serving." He was in uniform and he was talking in uniform on a video that someone was streaming, praising John for being. Go on, Sue. Go on.
That was at Trafalgar Square, and he shook John's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But what I was going to say was, oh shit, I forgot what I was going to say now. God, it's your dementia's getting to me. We was invited to the Truth Project at one point with Graham, because I was actually going as Graham's carer. So that he wanted me there, Moira, to go, but for some reason we never got to it. But I think I was told not to bother. I don't know if it's you, Brian, that actually told me that not to bother going because it wouldn't get nowhere.
I think Brian said something to me about the Truth Project. I'm sure he did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, don't get us wrong. When I first went down, they were okay and that, you know. But I mean, I went down with our Dane, to be honest, and our Dane was all right. But then when I was saying what I was saying, Dane had to get up and walk out, which you can understand with Dane being family, you know. But the thing was, it was like when I started talking about the LB aspect, you know what I mean? I started to shake and everything, and they give us a ball or something to squeeze.
yeah, the stress ball.
You know what I mean? And then they come out with and say, we would like you to speak to Inkster. You know what I mean? And I says to them, well, I'm not prepared to do that. And they says, well, what you come down and done your statement for? And I've come down and done my statement simply because there might be somebody who contacts you who's got a similar story with LB, and my story will back theirs up. That's the only reason I went down, because obviously, like what I witnessed at Waterhouse, you know what I mean? You could tell. What obviously Waterhouse was Wales, and I mean, there's a different way of doing judicial things these days. You know what I mean? But we're still on the same principle, which is, yeah, we'll give the public, we'll give the survivor, we'll give the public the knowledge of thinking that we're doing a good job. You know what I mean? But I'm nobody perfect. I'm nobody special. You know what I mean? But I could tell with me experience from Waterhouse what was going to happen. You know what I mean? And sure enough, it does. I mean, and whatever they find and whatever they found out at INSA will not necessarily mean any prosecution. So you could stand up in INSA and say, right, I was abused when I was 6. All the evidence is there. It doesn't necessarily mean that INSA have got a civil duty or a public duty to inform the police to go ahead and arrest these people. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I don't know of one single incident when evidence has been put from INSA where there's actually been any prosecutions.
I was listening to the INCSA inquiry when SOSA, Shirley Oaks Association, were doing, because it was something with the Lambeth Redress Scheme, a similar scheme type of what they wanted to do with Scotland, and with like a redress scheme in Scotland. But it was like, I don't know what these politicians do. Was that somebody trying to come in?
I'll let him in.
Oh, thanks, darling. Oh, Sue's back. You're right,
Yeah,
Sue.
I was telling you I'll be back.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Yeah. I just got a message off Jason, and I just wanted to go and.
Yeah, no problem. Have you heard any more from Graham?
No.
No, I haven't. So I don't know what's gone on there. So it's a bit cryptic, that message. What I will do is I'll forward it to you, Sue, so you can make it something out of it and see.
Yeah.
But I really feel that there's more in it than meets the eye. It kind of like, it sounds almost like he's sending signals, but it's a little bit confusing. Yeah, what I think about ICSA and the stories I've heard, and Jean telling the story about carbolic soap, myself telling the story about Sandy telling the story about carbolic soap, and the Shirley Oak survivors turning around and saying about the carbolic soap. And I think to myself, well, it's not just me. This industrial floor scrubbing soap they used to use to clean the floors was being used on children.
But it goes to say, Alan, the first one in charge of Inks, the first judge was Butler Sloss. You know what I mean? And I knew about Butler Sloss because of the Middlesbrough cases. You know, I mean, all the people realised it was the paper. It was all over the papers with Marietta Higgs, Jeff. I think it was Jeff Wyatt. Mariette said that all the kids had been abused and everything. They were literally. I mean, yeah, it is after.
Well, we were talking about carbolics.
Kids were literally the kids were literally when the kids were being examined to see if they'd been abused. No disrespect to people, they so be prepared. Yeah, you know the slabs that they used to put the dead bodies on.
Yeah,
they were literally putting the kids on all fours and examining them that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, Marietta Higgs got kicked out of England, and she later was allowed to work in Scotland. You know, so this is the thing. They put people in charge of these investigations who were crooked anyway.
Jack, is anything in the chat room?
Alan has said, sorry, Charles has said, Alan, Sheffield United 3, Chelsea 1. I don't know what that means.
Oh, Alan, that's bad.
But at AJ Lashbrook, I've set up a Facebook Messenger chat and added you and Sue. I hope that's okay. Figured it's the easiest way to put you in touch with each other.
Yeah, because he was last week, and I
for-
was trying to make out what he was trying to say, and because we had John on last week, and AJ was quite active in the chat room, but I think, to be truthful, Linda sport it.
No, this is relating to something that Sue has shared to me to pass on to AJ, and I thought it
We
better
do
to
know about it, Alan.
better to set up a direct three-way messenger chat thing with me, Sue, and AJ, and then them two can talk in that chat.
Yeah,
So
no problem.
it saves me playing messenger and any shots of Chinese whispers if they can talk to each other. Is that okay, Sue? If I've done that?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sure AJ will be fine with it as well.
Yeah.
So after this, you can.
Don't know, Sue, is that you're linked to a lot of the hunter groups. Now, you never talk about that, and you never say anything about that. But some of these guys are doing the job of the police.
Yeah, and they've been called glory hunters. You know, how wrong is that?
Another thing I've heard as well, Sue, is that I've heard people say this, that the people doing the hunter groups are paedophiles themselves. But is that a rumour that started by the paedophiles to deflect away from the hunters?
I think that's a rumour set about.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it many times, you know, and I hope it ain't right. I hope it's not true.
No, I mean there's a few hunter groups out there I don't agree with, and as Sandy well knows, you know, but there's a lot of good hunter groups out there, and the police are calling them glory hunters.
Well, the best ones are the ones that do the don't go out live. They record it and it goes out after the court case.
Yeah,
that's the best ones, I think.
The Forbidden Scotland are really, really good.
Yeah, they are.
And they are such a, you know, I mean, yeah, they're talking to nonsense, but they don't, to me, if a group does a live and they're calling them nonsense, which we know they are, we do know they are, but I think that if they're abusing them, you know, there was one group getting a dwarf to slap himself in the head. To me, it's not about that. You know, you're there to get them into court and get them put away. And they have to take these videos as evidence. And sometimes the swearing is prolific. And to me, how can they get conviction? I wouldn't accept that. You know, no matter how much you want to call these people exactly what they are, you've got to sort of have some decorum. And the Forbidden Scotland, they've got good results, and they don't go out doing that. Nor does the other white team. There's a few that don't, but there's a few that are giving the Hunters a bad name. You know?
Said he wanted to come in soon, so when you're ready, let him come in.
Yeah.
No bother. Well, as Sue was saying, the Forbidden Scotland, as you probably all know, we support them. They support us. They are, to me, I would say they're one of the best teams in the UK. The way they handle themselves, they deal with everything. But there's a lot of hunter groups out there. It goes out for the glory. Oh, we get X amount of stings this week. The Forbidden Scotland only get one. We're in the lead. It's not about, to me, it's not about being in the lead. It's about protecting them. But there are far, far too many young people want to be hunters and decoys, and they've not got a clue. And it's them, it's bringing the decent groups down. Now, there were a boy up here in Scotland, Sue will know who I'm talking about, and we were giving this guy a bit of support, no doubt in that. We helped him always, I'll put it that way. And he started working in a hunters group, and he got tossed out because he was bloody hopeless. And this hunters group had set up a sting, and they got the guy, they had him brilliantly, and it was a lot of kids this guy was involved with. This daft idiot, he goes along to he had a shop, I'll not say where, but it was in the Glasgow area, and this young idiot, he went along to the guy's shop, and he started getting it, him and his wee pal started giving the guy pure abuse, verbal abuse and everything, starting shouting pedos, everything at him. That guy got off with that.
Yeah.
He got off with it.
It was absolutely foul.
Now, this wee guy, one of the girls for the hunters group, he actually had a gun and he told her he was going to kneecap her. That's so wrong. That is so wrong.
Jesus.
You know, you don't do that. But he did do a bad time for that one. But there were a hunters group, I'll not mention again, and they had it on my Facebook site that they had fully investigated me, and they discovered that I was not in Quarriers Orphan Homes, that I was a such and such liar. They've got all the proof. They can prove everything. I never was in Quarriers Orphan Homes. I never was abused. I came from a loving family. Now, that caused a hell of a lot of abuse for me, with all these people coming in. Oh, it must be true, they've got the proof. Sandy Smith, you're that. Sandy Smith, you're that. Now, it started up again. That, unfortunately, it was when Sue was up here, by one of their so-called pals who pulled me up for using the word F and penis in front of her kids. And this is the same person that I've seen in front of the police, calling the police paedophiles, effing and seeing at them. Okay, it was all sorted out. Then, again, when it all started up there, just recently, the other week there, they're all in again. Oh, Sandy Smith says, Sandy Smith's discussing. Do you hear his language? I'm a trigger warning. I put that out. I'm the biggest trigger warning that's ever been in social media. Because I fight strongly for what I believe in. I speak the truth, and they don't bloody like it. Now, the abuse that was coming into me the other week there, that was just unbelievable. So when I started not letting it bother me, they turned Jane. And one of the ones that did get me, and I will see this guy, he's from Coatbridge in Lanarkshire, Scotland. I'll make it a point to see him. And he started oh God forgive me here, but that stumpy wee bastard a girl he's going with, that gets to me. That really gets to me, because I know what Quarrier's done. Jane's full story. What they done. Jane will tell a full story one day, believe me. And that is something. I'm going to have Jane on, and Jane's going to tell her first part with Quarriers, and then after. The second part is, wow, horrific what happened. But I know what happened to Jane, and I'm not standing back and letting anybody run her down. Sorry, I'll let you come in, Sue.
Well, I just want to say that these people that have been accusing you. Now, we had one lady who was in a hunter group, and she has a daughter, and Sandy and Jane did everything for that little girl. And, you know, I was there, and she had nothing but praise for Sandy and Jane. And then all of a sudden, when this hunter group, I won't name them,
So is that yeah.
no, hang on a minute. This previous hunter, the mother of the child, now she'd been with Sandy over 2 years or something. So they knew Sandy very well. Now, for 2 years, they'd been supporting her daughter and her and everything, gave her money, whatever. And then all of a sudden she's put up there, I've never trusted him from the beginning. So why the hell did she let her child go near him then?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The
You know,
reason,
and this is what they're getting.
yeah, she says she had her doubts about me from the beginning. That's what
Yeah.
it was. But she did say the reason she was pulling out was because we didn't believe in wearing face masks. Because, okay, her daughter, her young daughter, has got a hell of a lot where God bless you, God, and I still say that, God bless that child. And I just hope that the kid, they do find a cure and they do cure her. She's a beautiful, beautiful young girl. And Jane was really getting to know her. And it did hurt Jane when she says that she didn't want any more to do with us. I'm no doubting that. But that really did affect me because she's denying she said that. Now, so you seen the post, I seen them, so they seen them. And they know she said it, and she says, no, she didn't. Because all the posts has been taken down, each and every one. But I've blocked all these assholes. You know, it's been saying things about me. I don't want people in my army that's backstabbing each other. You can't do that. We've got a fantastic army here, a brilliant, brilliant army. We've got brilliant followers. I mean, I had almost 5,000 people on my Facebook site. I've brought that down to just slightly more than 3,000. I've got over 1,500 followers, all brilliant people, all supporting us. But there's no room for these people who they see a comment put up on Facebook and, oh, it must be true. Oh, I'll get my tuppence worth in. So I could come on here right now and I could accuse any one of you for something. Right? You know you're innocent. I know you're innocent. But there are hundreds of people out there who doesn't know you or any one of us for Adam and Eve. And they see that. They do see that. And this is the ones that's coming on, and that is ridiculous. Now, there was a wee boy from Ireland, and this wee boy had epilepsy, and it made television because his mother, she fought so hard for him, and it was to do with cannabis oil. I'm not going to go too much into it, but she was from Ireland.
I remember seeing that on the news.
Well, that wee boy, I gave support to. I really gave him hundreds of support. And I even went to Stormont over in Ireland. I met a few of the guys over there, Jerry Adams, blah, 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 down the line. And we had a really good talk. And we managed to get him the hospital treatment he needed over here instead of going to America. We managed to get that done for them. But that's another story. But this woman, she started with the name Papa Bear, and that stuck to me. And it's still, somebody mentioned it just recently, and it started. And when we go to George Square and all that, there's hundreds of people come up. Oh, Papa Bear, Nana Bear and all that. We even get criticised for that. Fucking Papa Bear, what a fucking name. And you want to see the abuse. This was pure abuse coming in. And then Jane, but the one that did get me, and I must admit, it did affect me big time. And that's what led to me passing out, that's all I'll say, was when I read that about Jane, the stumpy finger wee basket. You know, that really, really got to me, really hit me hard. And I hope that one day I meet that guy. I really hope I meet him. I do hope I meet him. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying too much in that, but don't want to
Sandy,
yeah.
did you ever meet that guy? He'll shit himself because he ain't got a keyboard in front of him. He'll just be a keyboard warrior.
Yeah,
But meeting
yeah,
him face to face, he'll be a total arsehole.
yeah,
That's what I'll say to you. But going back to what Sue was saying just a little while ago about the paedophiles and the paedophile hunters, and they're doing the job of the police,
mhm.
I agree with that. But there's a programme on TV tomorrow, Channel 4 at 9 o'clock, and it's about the police and the unit that they've got that are hunting paedophiles. And I thought, well, you're just about fucking 20 years out of date then. Because if that's what you've got now, you should have been doing that 20 odd fucking years ago. Sorry for me rant, but carry on.
No, I just want to say that, you know, I get very good gut instincts about things, you know, and if I feel it's not right, it doesn't happen. Now, my great granddaughter, she loves Sandy, she loves Brian and Alan, and she will talk to them. But there's some, I mean, this don't sound good, but my eldest grandson always wears a black hoodie with the hood up, right? And he scared her. And then one day my granddaughter came down and she was banging on his door, and Harper happened to be there. Well, Jack's opened the door and it's fripped the life out of Harper. Now, Harper will not go near me. He's never done nothing to her, but she will not go near him. You know, we say it's only Uncle Jack, just, you know, but she will not. If she's in the sitting room, she'll look round the door to see if he's coming down the stairs and things.
Right.
But I would trust my great granddaughter with these men. You know, and for someone to say that's really hurtful. You know, really hurtful, because I never felt that, and I never have. You know.
You know, it's funny here, Sue, because I don't know how you do it, but every time you seem to know when I'm in a downer, because you always come on, and didn't matter how I feel, I'd always come back to you. And every time I'm in a downer, you come on, you've got wee Harper there, and she's a wee darling. Just the things she comes out with, she's just amazing.
Yes. Yeah, wanting me to jump and do somersaults on the sofa the other day.
That was funny. I play leapfrog.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Yeah. As fucker. I'll jump on the settee, I'll have no sofa. You know, but you know, children do know who they can trust and can't. They're not.
Children have got a better instinct than what we have as adults, because we've got inhibitions. Children don't.
Yeah.
But as you were saying there, Sue, with the fright, you know, kids remember that if they get a fright and they still see that physical assault, you know, they'll back off. That'll wear off through time. It will wear off.
Yeah.
You
know, I mean, Jack does try when she's here. He'll come in and throw a cushion at her or something, playing with her, you know. But she and her mum was here one day, and he'd come down the stairs, and she said, "We're going to see Uncle Jack." And Harper's no, so JC carried her, went out the kitchen. She said, "Come on, we'd duff him up." And Harper was hitting it, you know, punching him. And she come in and told me, but she's still thinking, I mean, with my George, you know, she loves George, but she hadn't seen him for a little while. George come in the sit room, she ran up to him and just rubbed his hand and then run back to her. And it was because she was pleased to see him. You know, she'd missed him. I mean, he's not a child person anyway, but he's always got time for her, you know. But I just wanted to say that, you know, Sandy, Brian, Alan are all 100%. And I would trust them.
I'm just looking at what Charles has just put in the chat room. I'm in touch with ICSA now, and I've been in touch with Professor Alex J. I'm waiting for his replies, focusing on that 500 children abuse cases she has occurred in law under the Treaty of Rome 4x1 1950, which is the ECHR. And the 500 children abuses cannot be overridden by government acts and statutes. Now, this is something that I said earlier on when I turned around and said, Boris Johnson talking about money being spaffed up the wall. on child abuse cases. Now, acts and statutes, like they've done the coronavirus 2020, and they're giving people out fines on the streets under the Coronavirus Act. Well, acts and statutes aren't law. They're only regulations by government. They have to have the consent of the people. They don't just bring out something, and they didn't have the backing of Parliament either.
Mm.
Yeah, Alexis J was also the one in charge of the Rotherham scandal.
Alexis J, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say something about the mask. When I went down to Sainsbury's not long ago, because obviously I can't wear a mask anyway, and I don't. The bloke said to me, "Where's your mask?" The security on the door. I said, "I don't wear one, I'm exempt." He said, "Where's your card?" I said, "In my pocket." So he said, "Well, you're supposed to be wearing it." I said, "Well, I haven't got a string. I wasn't going to tell him that Sandy had nicked it up in Scotland to tie his flag up with." But so he said to me, "Where's your letter?" I said, "What letter?" He said, "You've got to have a letter from your doctor stating what is wrong with you."
Mhm.
I said, "Well, that's the first I've heard of it." So he said, "I'll let you in this time." He said, "And go and get a cord from behind the cigarette counter."
He's
I
not
said,
allowed to do that. He's not qualified to turn around and say that.
My granddaughter works for Sainsbury's, and it was actually today. And I said to her, "Do you, when you go in your Sainsbury's, do you have to have a letter and a mask?" And a supervisor was there, and he said, "What?" So I said, "What happened?" He said, "No, they're not allowed to ask you that. You can refuse it. We do not have it at this store." He
There's
said,
been a case that's been done exactly the same lines where they settled out of court for £7,000. And I think, I'm not sure if it was Morrison's or Sainsbury's or Tesco's, one of them. It was one of the big leading groups. And I think Morrison's, somebody's just taking Morrison's to court on the self-same thing. That these people are asking for, they go against the Data Protection Act straight away because they can't disclose anything about you. They're not qualified to ask you about any illness or anything that's wrong with you because they're not qualified. And this thing what's coming out now, that an MP's turning around saying council's going to knock on your door if you don't. Councils cannot do that lawfully because, again, it's against the Data Protection Act. And hospitals can't give your information and disclose confidential matters or medical records about patients because it's in breach of what they're all about.
Aren't they knock on my door? Because I'm fucking waiting for them.
"Yeah, well, they don't want to knock on mine either."
So going back to what you said a little while just previously about your great-granddaughter and your grandson or whatever, and she's in fear of him because he done this pulling up his hoodie. I don't remember it, so I was obviously very young. But one of my mum's sisters, her husband, if we went up to my nan and granddad's and he was there, I wouldn't go in the room. He used to have to go and stand outside in the hallway, so I would go in the front room and sit talking with everybody. Now, he's never hurt me in my entire life. And when I was young, my mum was always in and out of hospital, in and out of hospital. And I used to get shipped off to this particular aunt and uncle, and I could live with them for up to 3 months at a time. I would end up going to school with my youngest cousin, who was the same age as me. I went to her primary school because it was so constant that my mum would be taken into hospital. She might stay overnight, but then she could end up staying in there 2 months. And although I'm the youngest, the others weren't old enough to look after me because they were either at school themselves or they were out at work. So there was nobody there at home at my age that I could go to. So it was this aunt and uncle that I'd get shipped to and end up going to school there. So now I'm on to now my youngest, and her nan, which is her father's mother, she had a really squeaky voice. And my Tammy, she used to go in and say, like, wave, hello, Nanny. But his brother, Kevin, he wouldn't hurt a soul. He's like a 6 foot something odd, but he's one of them gentle giants. He'll roll on the floor with the kids. He used to come home from work, and if any of the nieces, and well, there was only nieces and there was no nephews, if there was any nieces there, and he'd open up, put out his pockets and just chuck the money in the air, and all the kids would die for this money, you know, and it was like, Uncle Keb, brilliant. My Tammy wouldn't go in the room if Kev was there. He used to have to turn his chair around and face the other way because she wouldn't look at him. But when we
Yeah.
got there, she used to say, Uncle Keb, you know, really, well. As soon as he said, hello, Tam, no! And yet he'd never fucking even shouted at her.
Yeah, I mean, my Jack is 6'4". He's like the bloody Grim Reaper when he's got his hood up. And today was funny because I was upstairs doing my bedroom and I heard the door knock and I thought, one of them again. Well, Jack's gone downstairs and opened the front door, and Harper was on the other side throwing snowballs at him.
Just, guys,
Oh.
go on.
What?
Go on, you're
I
saying.
just thought it was funny, you know, but she still threw the snowballs at him.
Oh.
It got snow that much. Sorry for interrupting. I'm just.
Yeah, it's getting
Oh.
worse. The roofs are all full now.
Don't let you know, Jean. So Jean's put a post up. Have you seen it?
No.
Don't know.
No, right. So she phoned me earlier on tonight and said that, about her son had gone missing.
Yeah.
And I put a post up saying that, you know, if you're right, if you need anything, I'm here. You know, don't worry.
Yeah, I saw that one.
So I was trying to encourage her a little bit, but I said, if you need me, I'm on the end of the phone line. She just wrote this. Oh dear, what a weekend. They found my son and took him back to the home. He broke a glass or a mug and tried to slit his wrist. And now he's in Whips Cross Hospital. Carers called the police and ambulance. Carers called the police and ambulance. So he's in Whips Cross Hospital.
You see, this is another thing, the mental health. Now, Jean's son, I mean, I've met him and he speaks to me okay, but he needs help. He's in this, I don't know what they class it as, but there's 8 of them there and there's 1 carer. And I think he's being bullied there myself. But last night, he went into the common room and one of the blokes was in there masturbating.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's gone out and told the staff. And they did absolutely nothing about it. Right? Now, so Matthew's gone and he's gone to a friend's. I mean, she's quite elderly, I think. And he became very agitated while he was there. So she called an ambulance for him. They took him to Whips Cross Hospital and he became aggressive towards the staff. So they then took him to St Thomas's, who said they can't do nothing for him. And he walked out, you know. So he was missing all night. But years ago, he lived in a flat and he set fire to it and he got 4 years in prison for doing that. And he felt safe. He was on the hospital wing and he felt safe in that place. And that's what he wants. Now, last week, they're talking about giving him another flat. What is the matter with these people? You know, not only is he putting his life at risk, he's putting others at risk because he will do it again. You know, so anything
Giving them
happens.
the opportunity in it, so by putting them in another flat, basically just dumping them.
Yeah, he feels secure when he's in, like, not necessarily prison, but that sort of environment. That's
He would
what
be better off going into a community home where they've got adults with learning disabilities and challenging behaviour. That would be a better place for him because there's staff on duty all the time, which is what I used to work in. And I was one carer of like 7 adults in the flat that I used to help run as well. And there was many reasons why they were there, because they couldn't be trusted to be left on their own. And I was one of one carer of like 7 adults in the flat that I used to help run as well. And there was many reasons why they were there, because they couldn't be trusted to be left on their own. And And that's,
Yeah.
I think, the sounds of what, you know, and Jean's family need as well.
Well, Jean's on her own. She has nothing to do with her daughter or granddaughter. But Jean, he has threatened to kill Jean and had a knife at her.
Oh,
And
God.
not last November before, I had to go up to London. No, social services phoned me because he had done this and the police had taken her to social services. And they phoned me up and I said, well, she can come to me. So, and Jean was in a right state at this point.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
I thought they was bringing her down, right? No, they put her on a train, right?
No.
And this, she didn't get to me till I was down the station waiting for her till 10:30 at night,
Good
right?
God.
Which really annoyed me. And then after that, we'd got a meeting with a councilwoman and I went back with her because it wasn't safe for her to be on her own. So I stayed there and they said they would help her move her out, which they did. We got this, what do they call them? Shelter accommodation. And she wasn't allowed to contact her son at all. And then she's rung me up one day and she said, Sue, I've spoken to Matthew. I'm going to meet him. So, and I know that Matthew loves his mum and he does love her, you know, but I said to Jean, I don't think it's a good idea. So, but she met him anyway. And, you know, she's 80 years old and she is in such a state now. You know, she phoned me at 1 o'clock this morning as well. She's phoned me about 4 times today. And she said she just wants to die.
Oh, bless
She
her.
just wants to die. And I said to her, Jean, I want her to move down here with me. You know, she can move in my house. I've got a spare room she sleeps in when she's here. Or get her sheltered accommodation down here. So she's still got her independence.
Yeah.
Because she shouldn't be living this life.
Let me just say something about what you were saying a little while ago. I remember being in the Scrubs, when I was in the prisons. And the cell that I was in, there was a bed behind the door, and there was a bed that side. So there was 2 bedrooms in a little tiny room, tiny. And this guy was on his bed wanking. He's best masturbating. I'm sat there with my knees. I'm trying to hide behind my bloody knees with this green cover over me. And he turned around and said to me, he said, I'm going to murder you in your sleep. And I found out he was in for murder. And they put me in a cell with another guy who was in for murder. And I said to the screws, I said, I ain't going back in that cell with that guy. He's threatened to kill me while I'm in my sleep. And so I did anything to try and get out of that cell, just in case. You never know. He was in there for kicking a bloke to death or something. And so I went on the cleaners and got a job on the cleaners to get myself out of that cell. And sometimes you have to do desperate. There is a true saying that desperate things mean desperate measures. And sometimes you find you're in that same self position. But when I was in Brixton, and I was put in a cell with 3 other guys, and they said, whatever you say, don't ask anybody what they're doing bird for. Never ask that question, ever. So I was stupid and naive, and I was newbie, and I said to one geezer, what are you in for? He said, murder. I said to the next geezer, what are you in for? He said, murder. I said to the other geezer, what are you in for? He said, murder. And I thought, fuck me, I'm in a room with 3 murderers, I'm going to be fucking killed. And don't ever ask again, because he was saying that to teach me a lesson. God said,
You're talking about, it was in the hospital in Paisley. I was in. And I can't remember if it was always, I was in the hospital when I fell in. and he was in the corner. There were sixes in the room. He was over in the corner bed, and I don't know, but he didn't like me, you know. And he told me the same. He was going to fucking kill me. So this night, it was in the middle of the night. He came over, and I seen him on my fucking bed. So I woke up to see him, and he's going, "See you bastard, you're dying tonight." He goes, "You're a grass." He goes, "You've told him where my tunnel is." This is true. You've told him
It's
where
not
my
fucking funny when you're in a cell with a bloke like that.
No, I'm laughing at you told him where my tunnel is. That's what made me laugh.
I'm saying, well, I've been in a fucking cell when a bloke's done it, and there's no way you're getting out that fucking door. And he just
Yeah.
gets to the other side of the room, and he's the better, and the buzzer that you press for the fucking kangaroo
That's gonna
is that side. There's no way you're going to get over there, especially if someone's in there for fucking murder. The
Mm.
bloke who I was in with, he was a big fucker and all.
Well, this guy,
Oh God.
you know, and I caught him again. He was getting into my, you know how you get your wee word up there. We chest of drawers and all that, a wee drawer. And he was in my drawer, and I caught him one night. I goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I want your fucking gun. I'm going to shoot him." Right.
I want you what?
He went into me. It was a wee cupboard I had next to my bed with a drawer, and he was in there, and I asked him what he was doing. He goes, "I want your gun." He goes, "I want your gun." So the next thing, he goes, "Like, where's the gun?" So I goes, "I've not got a gun." And the next thing, he gets his hands round my neck. So I'm trying to get to my buzzer. I'm trying to hit the guy, but I couldn't hit him to try and do something. But I'm eventually got my buzzer, and they come in. And there were two nurses and a doctor guy come into the room. And he fucking laid two of the nurses out. So, of course, there were more come in. But that guy, he was taking, I can't remember, what do you call that? Big security place. Castairs. He was taken down to Castairs at that time. But it was just at New Year time as well. And it was New Year's night. And it reminds me a wee bit of that story myself. But the rockets started getting up to bring in the New Year. It's a sort of thing that I don't know if you get that down your area or not. But when New Year, all these rockets, they go off all night. And these rockets were coming in. The guy was under the bed and he's screaming, "They're bombing him." He was going nuts. They gave him a jacket of the arse to put him to sleep. He was waking the whole bloody hospital up. You know, but I don't know what happened to that poor guy, you know, but whether he had seen something, you know, whether he'd been in one of far off lands fighting or what, I really don't know what happened to him. But they shifted him down to Castairs, you know, which is someplace that, you know, you don't want to go in there. But I just remember that he's going to kill me. He thought I knew where his tunnel was. You know?
You can't imagine, Jack, what it's like when it kicks off inside. When it kicks off inside, the fucking sirens are all going off. Like the fucking sirens going off. And when they go off, you're supposed to all get into your fucking cells, and then the screws are running everywhere. And it's fucking mayhem when it does go off, because you're supposed to get into your cells and lock yourself up, and then the screws are running frantically to try and get you in the cells and fucking lock the doors and deal with whatever is going on. It's fucking
Where I used to work, we used to have to wear our own personal panic alarm. And if anything kicked off, we used to have to hit the panic button, and staff just come from everywhere.
Yeah.
And there was one particular night I was working in, I can't name anything, but I was working in this particular place. And one client, we was just all sat around the dinner table, eating dinner. And this one particular client got out and started stabbing one of the other service users in the back. Fucking hell. When I say I shit myself, I weren't far wrong from shitting myself, I'm telling you. Because this guy must have been 6'6" tall and about 6'6" wide. And I'm only just 5 foot. You know, so I've got no fucking chance of doing anything. Even if I'd have stood on the table, I still wouldn't have reached him.
They used to use toothbrushes when I was inside, and you were allowed a toothbrush to come in to clean your teeth and that. And they didn't think it as an offensive weapon in them days. I don't know what it's like today, but
Yeah.
In them days, you could have fags and lighters in them days in prisons, and or swoop. Swoop was what the receptionists used to get from the visiting rooms, and they used to get all the tobacco, put it in the tobacco tins and sell it. And what you used to give them is from canteen, you'd get a quarter of half ounce, and they give them a quarter for a bit of swoop or whatever the case was. And they used to make weapons with toothbrushes and put a razor blade in the toothbrush, melt it down, and put so they could slash people.
Yeah.
They use tiny toothbrushes now.
Today.
Tiny. But I was like with Jean, like when she phoned up, she said he's walking the streets. And he has tried to commit suicide. He's tried to go in front of a train. He's tried to jump off of bridges and everything.
Alan, have you heard of them using two or three razor blades side by side?
Oh,
They do that so you can't stitch up.
I
Because,
do.
yeah.
Stanley knives. That's
Yeah.
a thing.
The old sugar Jason.
That's the latest I've heard that they do now.
Yeah, they do made it because it's hard.
You can't stitch up because there's 3 cuts. Yeah.
It used to be a symbol. If you was marked in a particular way, you was marked for that reason.
Scott.
Yeah.
If you was marked in a certain part of your body, if you had an injury or a mark or a wound in a certain part of your body, you was a wrong one. You
Yeah.
might have been 45 hour or something like that, or a nonce. I remember being in Brixton on remand. You had like the toilets, the recess, we used to call them, and you could get boiling hot water and sugar. And they used to put the sugar in the boiling hot water, and this bloke came up the stairs and he threw it straight in his face.
Yeah.
All sirens went off.
Sugar makes it boil even more, so it will burn deeper into the skin.
Yeah.
I feel so
coming
much
back to what Sandy was saying about in quarriers, they used to use this disinfectant or something like that. And I was saying about the carbolic soap they used to use. I remember they used to use this green stuff, but the stuff I think I remembered it, but it used to fucking burn. And it was called, I'm sure it was called Vosine.
That was shampoo.
Shampoo.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure it used to burn your fucking eyes.
Yeah, any shampoo.
And they used to use Vim as well. And I'm sure they'd put Vim on you and try and clean you with Vim as well. And I remember the Vim, it was like a plain, it used to be a round thing with 3 holes in the top of it.
Yeah.
But it didn't have Vim like you would find in the shops. Because it was probably sold to the councils, it was different labelling.
You can still get it now, Ajax.
Yeah.
But
can I just come in quick and then go? Because I just wanted to say that I apologise for leaving. Sorry for it's amazing listening to you lot. I'm doing some art here, and at Wormwood Scrubs, Alan, they have a art department called the Kessler Awards, and Kessler is based at Wormwood Scrubs, and the reason I left was because I had a phone call. It was from somebody who's in prison. Anybody knows, genuinely. And I just want to reflect back on what people were saying, especially what you're saying about Jean and the place that she was, her son, and that man that was, playing with his todger, and that's disgusting. That, some people in prisons at the moment are being treated better than the elderly and everybody else out. Not everybody. And that even though I was talking to this person in prison and very aware of what I was saying, that I won't talk about my anything about my story now, but I just want to say I won't, because I'm going to the police on Wednesday 10th at 2:30, and
good luck.
Thank you, but I know how to do it, Jackie. Thank you. I will be coming on different wake ups before that, and I know what to say and not what to say, because I'm not stupid and I have helped other people all my life. And that it is genuinely a privilege to listen to you and be here. Brian's gone and hope his dog's there. And so I was off the phone for that amount of time. And what the women's prison that I was having the phone call from, and it were like, I was hearing this person saying it's somebody I don't know that well, but and I've got to go to bed because there's a telephone. And I know from my experiences and my friends and all that And you know, you're talking about the 3 razor blade thing, I think it was Jason, and how people get marked. I understand all of that. And I think like Brillo pads and Ajax, you remember that? Disgusting, really. But what I love about you lot is the way that you can put humour into the most despicable situations that we have all lived through, me too. And I will do it on, it's going to be Wednesday at 2:30. I spoke to one of the officers who she's all right, and I'll be videoed, right? And then after that, that's it for that one person. And then I'll have a break, and then I'll go for the next and the next and the next, because I will never stop. It isn't for me that I'm doing it, it genuinely isn't. It's because if that scumbag, and yes, I would love to castrate him myself, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to, because I'm a babby. What, other than that, I've remembered everything. Now, I know how to talk and not give theories and say what I know really happened with cover-ups and that. I won't say anything. They can do the investigation and they can go and do what they do. But if any council officials come to my doors, I'll just say what I'd like to have. Please forgive me. I'd like to have a secret taser put down my pants so I can get them with that when they're not looking. And yeah, as far as the nonsense paedophiles go, some of them, I'd love for them to endure just what I had to as a babby for 10 seconds or 20 seconds, and then watch and then walk out and just do that. I could do that, but right now I'm going to go and eat my food because I feel a bit rude eating my food. And yeah, so I don't know what else to say really, and thank you.
No, thank you, Lizzie. Thank you for coming on. It's
Thank
always
you, Alan.
nice.
You're more mature than me. Thank you very much for coming on.
And Alan, can I just mention, Alan, that Lizzie mentioned about the humour, and for a lot of people that hear the humour when you talk about these topics, it might seem a bit unsettling to see humour mixed in with such awful things that you discuss. But you need to remember, often humour is, I think, me and you speak recently about this, Alan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to say something about humour.
Yeah, well, hang on, Lizzie. Hang on, please, Lizzie. Hang on, Lizzie. Humour is often used as a coping mechanism. This is why people like policemen, firemen, paramedics that see horrific things, they will be scraping bodies off the pavement and things like that, you know. I knew a guy once who used to work on the railways, and he'd regularly go and pick up body parts from the side of the railway where they chucked in front of trains, you know. And the only way these people can get through the day is to have that level of almost banter that to the untrained ear would be the weirdest thing to hear a sort of person talk about. But there is that humour that gets is a coping mechanism for people. And I'm sure for you guys it's a similar kind of thing, you know. And it's not a disrespect thing or a distaste thing. I'm sure it's just a way, like the servicemen do, you know. And military, they do the same thing, you know. Military banter.
Can I just say, like Jackie was saying, because Jackie, I have worked a lot of the time in different places and different establishments, looking after children, people with learning difficulties, people with mental health difficulties, and in homeless hostels, dry houses, and all that. And I have the utmost respect, but my humour is not in any way to be taken for the fact that I disrespect anybody. I understand what it's like, and also that having a laugh sometimes and smiling sometimes hurts me. I like to smile too much, genuinely. It does. So sometimes just not saying anything and being quiet for me is a blessing. So, you know, I will just leave it on this, that when I'm not going into the details, but I was told by all my family that I could talk before I could walk. I started talking at 9 months old because I was communicating very clearly about what had happened to me. So when I've spoken on Wednesday, right, for however long it takes, then hopefully I'll have said what I need to say about that one person, if it is. And then, yeah, one day I will tell my story, not yet, because I'm too busy malarkeying around with dog and my husband. And thank you. Right. I understand.
One thing with this show, is, I think, with us guys, it's kind of like a therapy. And when we speak to each other, and when we talk to each other, I don't know about Brian, but I find it with Brian, Sue, and Sandy, I get such a good feeling backwards, and it makes me feel better talking to people like Sue, Sandy, and Brian because they know exactly what you're talking about. When you're talking about it, they know exactly, and there's nothing you can say. You can't turn around and say to a person that hasn't been through what we've been through, how can you imagine what it's like to be or go through? You can't, because there's no comparison.
Well, I think the way I look at it is that that person could have took me down and I could have gone down, but he wasn't going to beat me. And why should I not smile? Why should I not have a laugh? You know, because of, you know, what that person did to me. I could never have gone on and had children if I let it get to me. You know, I couldn't show them the love or anything. And I will laugh. And me and Sandy on the most mornings speak, you know, and we're always laughing, you know, but that thing that's happened to us will never go away from us.
Yeah.
No matter how much we laugh.
That's what I said. That I said that myself. And you know, the only thing not Sandy's going to come across the same as what I come across is that sometimes I don't like doing this in the sense that you invite people on, and I've invited 4 or 5 people on now, and they say they're going to come on, and they don't come on, and you feel let down a little bit because I was planning the show around something tonight, and I had an idea of what we were going to do. I knew Sue would back me up and Brian would back me up. When Brian said to me that he'd come on, and I thought it was good because I knew Sandy would come on anyway and back me up. But it's always nice to have somebody with you as well because it's nothing worse than you end up falling flat on your face when somebody's going to say they're going to come in. And I had Angie and Tinky do it to me last week. They said they were definitely going to come on. And I've had 2 or 3 people do it to previous weeks to me. And it's very, very difficult to book up in advance when you don't know if the person's going to let you down or not. And it you feel a little bit of a fool, to be truthful.
Yeah, but
Oh, you shouldn't feel like that, Al, you know, because at the end of the day, you've asked them. If they haven't got the decency to say to you, sorry, I can't make it, you know, or just don't bother with you, then that's their ignorance. That's not you. And it doesn't show any reflection on you either. So you shouldn't feel that way, babes, at all. But Lizzie's gone, you know, and I just wanted to answer her that she said she'd worked with children. I only worked with children twice.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I talk to you later about that?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
You know.
She said
you don't want to talk about it in a moment, so we can
children.
just give her that. Let Sue talk to you later on.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go off now because Kathy Sugar's late, so I'm going to go. And Brian, you guys stay on for as long as you need to, and you can have a little bit more chat. Sue and Brian and Sandy and Jack.
Alan, I'm aware.
All right, Brian. Thanks for coming on,
right,
mate.
Thanks,
it's always nice for you.
Sandy, I'll catch up with you during the week, mate. Yeah.
Take care, Brian.
I'll catch up with you during the week.
Cheers, Adam.
Cheers, and I'll speak to you soon, guys. Thanks, Sue, Sandy, and Jackie.
Right.
Thank you.
See you later.
Take care, Al.
Right, are you staying on, Sue, for a while?
Yeah.
You are, okay.
Yeah, if everyone else is all right.
What Lizzie said about she worked with the children. I only worked with children twice, and I couldn't do it anymore because that broke my heart. What I was taken into a children's home. That's what it is. It's nothing but children. And there was I think there's about 30 children in there. And the first night I went now, well, my first shift that I done now, yeah, it was fine. We was all sitting down eating dinner, and then it was like bath time and bedtime. And you get a certain amount of children that you have to bath and whatever. You're asked to stood outside the bathroom because I wouldn't go in there with them. I just stood outside the bathroom, you know, and oh, Jackie, I said, no, darling, you're big enough, you can do it yourself. You know, I don't need to wash you at all. You know what you need to do. And it was this one particular little girl. She got out of the bath, she dried herself, she put her gym jams on, and then she came up to me and snuggled right into me. And I couldn't cuddle her back. Not because I couldn't, I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't allowed to put my hands anywhere on her, or had it have been a him, I couldn't have put my hands on them to cuddle into them as well. So I just had to stand there and let this little girl cuddle into me. And she said to me, I like you. I said, oh, thank you, I like you too. But I had the biggest lump in my throat that I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks later, they asked me if I would go back and do the kids' home again. And I said, yeah, fine. And that little girl remembered me. And when I walked in the door, she was already in there. And they said, you know, like, oh, come in, Jackie, we're all in the dining room. So I walked into the dining room, and that little girl was sitting there. And she came up, she got off of her chair, and she came up, and she threw herself at me and cuddled me. And I so desperately wanted to just give her the biggest cuddle that I could, but I wasn't allowed.
Mm.
And that shift ended. And then when I went back to where I was usually working at, and I said, I can't work in that children's home anymore. I can't do it. Why? And I told them why. I said, do you know what? It broke my heart that I couldn't cuddle that little girl. I said, had she not have come up to me, you know, and I mean, she really threw herself and wrapped her little tiny arms around the back of me, and I couldn't even touch her arm. I couldn't do anything. I said, and that's crucified me. I said, so please don't ever ask me to go help at that children's home again. I said, because I can't do it. And nothing else was mentioned about it. And then a few weeks later, I got called in, and I, you know, oh God, like what the fucking hell's gone on? And it was just to say that the little girl was asking for me.
Oh.
Please tell her I've left. I said, because I can't go back there, because I can't do what I want, because that's what we're not allowed to do. And they said, I know, we've already said the best thing to say is that she's left, because Jackie said herself that she can't work there again. And I so desperately wanted to, but I couldn't, because I couldn't cuddle that little girl back and show her that, yes, I did care about her, you know, and I would always be there for her. So I never worked at another children's home again. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at all.
I mean, like in the children's homes we were in, they didn't want to cuddle you. And that's what we missed. Because I came from a loving family, you know, mum, dad, brothers. And then my mum was gone, you know, my mum would cuddle us, my dad would cuddle us. And that's what you missed a lot of, was the caring, showing they cared by giving you a cuddle if you'd fallen down, whatever it was for. And they just never give you that.
I couldn't do that. Could not do that with a child, you know. If they fell over or for whatever reason, it's the instinct. You go to pick them up, you know, are you okay? You know, is everything all right? Even the little ones that I looked after as being a childminder, I pick them up instantly. You know, cuddle them into me. Are you all right? Are you all right? And, no, I want my mummy, you know, or no, I want daddy. Well, unfortunately, they're at work, you know, so you got me for the moment, but, you know, I'll cuddle and I'll do whatever. But I just, that little girl's face haunted me for many, many years of seeing that, the way she just cuddled into me. And I thought, my God, I know all you want is just a cuddle. And she couldn't get it from me. And it just ripped at me. Awful. So how somebody as an adult can abuse a child is just beyond anything that I can think of, because they're not fucking normal. And why should they share the same air that I breathe? When they do what they do, they lost all their human rights. They've lost everything the moment they start abusing a child. And that's it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, saying about the children, you know, like when a child falls over, Harper falls. I'll come here, Nana, kiss her, kiss it better. Like yesterday, she came running in and slid on something, fell on her bum. I said, don't even think I'm going to kiss your bum, you know, because she farts and she stinks. And I thought, and I said to her, JC started laughing. So I said to JC, get her to rub her own bum. I said, and don't kiss it better. I said, I'll kiss her knees better. I'll kiss her head, anything else, but I'm not kissing her bum. You know, but I mean, oh yeah. When JC, my JC was younger, she really did suffer from constipation.
Oh.
So I used to go and say, do you want Nanny to squeeze your head? I'd pretend to squeeze a red, you know, to get it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, Harper's here now, so I said, I'd do it to Harper. And she's gone to nursery one day, and JC's gone and picked her up. She said, can I have a word with you? So JC said, yes. She said, there's nothing sort of wrong. And she said, we took Harper to the toilet, and she's sitting there squeezing. And she said to her, can you squeeze my head, please? And JC just said, oh my God. She said, that is my bloody nan. She said, that's what she does. You know, she said, she think, but it's just, it's constipated. It was so funny. And Daisy come back, she said to me, they just called me because you and you're squeezing your bloody head shit. That's what I squeeze it for. You know, it was funny, you know.
Oh God, kids do say the most funniest of things, the most inappropriate times.
Yeah, I said to her yesterday, the other day, she was here, and she'd been to the toilet, and I said to her, I went in my bedroom, and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to the toilet now. So she's run in there. She said, okay, keep cool, keep cool. I thought, I said I was going to bloody toilet, you know. They've got such good, you know, the things they come out with are hilarious.
Oh, they're brilliant. My youngest, when she was, oh God, she was probably about 3.5. We was waiting outside her play school to open because it didn't open until 9:15 in the morning. And a few weeks had gone past, and this particular Indian guy was walking past. And it must have been on a Wednesday, because that's when Chutney Chops had his day off. So we're sitting outside in the car. Chutney Chops, by the way, is my ex-husband. And he used to say, oh, look, he's got a poily head, because he had a turban on, right? And I said to him, oh, don't say that to her, you know, for God's sake, you know she's going to repeat it. No, she won't. No, she won't. Well, this went on for a good few weeks. Oh, look, here's the geezer with the poily head. Well, he didn't come past this particular Wednesday. So we've got out the car, got her out of her seat, held her hand, shut the door, gone to walk round the corner to go into her playgroup. And obviously the bloke must have come earlier because he's now walking towards us. And I thought, oh, fuck. Out of nowhere, this little squeaky voice went, oh, look, Dad. Shit, it's got a poily head.
Oh,
we want the ground to open up.
yeah.
It was then. And I just went, and put my head down. With a bloke, whether he understood English or not, I don't know. But he just walked past us. We opened up the door to get into the nursery entrance, and I went to him. I told you she'd fucking repeat it, didn't I? You shouldn't have repeated what Daddy says. And she said, but why not? You say funny things. Oh, God.
Oh, they are some classics. They are brilliant. I love listening to Harper. and she's so grown up. I mean, she's 4 March, next month, and she's been doing it for quite a while. She's always been able to speak well and been advanced,
Yeah.
And she said, JC said one day, she said, Jake was in the bath. She was about 2. So she's gone in the bathroom and she's come out. She said, Daddy's not got the same as us. So JC said, no, Daddy's a man. So she kept going. So Jake got out of the bath and put some pants on, and he still to this day baths in pants because of her, And I mean, she knows about a baby comes out your belly, or you what's it, because JC's just honest. But she was asking JC, well, how did the baby get there?
Oh
no. And JC said, I just said to her, I'll tell you when you're older, but for her to come out, how did it get there first? Because we believe in calling things by their proper names.
Yeah.
Some people have got different names for it, but we just say the proper name. But they are funny.
I think with kids is, if they ask a question like that, give them the right answer.
Yeah.
Because back in my time, God almighty, it was a thing that was never spoke about.
Yeah.
If you ask anything, you were tell all the stories, you came from under the cabbage, you came from under the gooseberry bush.
Yeah.
These stories.
Yeah.
People, I mean, my son, when he asked, I would tell him, my wife done the same, if he asked, so he knew, and didn't know about the abuse, but I was warning him about the bad people out there. Your body's your own, nobody touches it. He was told all that from a young age. I do believe in that. But
yeah,
this is a thing we'll be talking about this later on. And it's about the way they're teaching the kids up here in Scotland now. It's so wrong. But I'll be talking more about that later.
Yeah.
But, no, I do believe in telling kids from an early age, your body is your own. And if they ask, aye. Because if they're asking, then they'll understand that, better. And
and the thing is,
I remember when I'd my own business, it was this, I'll not mention the woman's name, it was over in Kilmacombe, and I went, every time when I had my own business, and I told the guys, like, when you go to someone's house, if it's a private house, ring a bell, let them know you're there. I no bother. So I had my boys with us one day, and it was a women's house. I went and pressed the bell. And see, the wee girl, at times, she was just coming up for 4. And of course, the man come on, goes, right, this is us here. Blah, blah. What? I know, bother, Sandy, will get your tea ready for 10 o'clock. So I know, bother. So the wee girl, she turned and she goes to me, my mummy's got a belly. Sorry, my mummy's going to have a baby, and it's in her belly, isn't it, mummy? It's so over,
Yeah.
Mummy, it's in there, Sandy, it's in there.
Oh, bless her.
It's in there, it's in mum's belly.
When my George was, when I first got him, he was 4, and we moved to this house, and it had a bidet in it. Well, George insisted going to the toilet in it, and he was sitting there doing a poo, and all of a sudden he come in. My daughter was in there with him, and he said, "Where do babies come? How do babies get in your belly?" She said, "Your wee in your belly button." Do you know, until he was 10, he still believed you weave in your belly button to get a baby. And I thought, and I said, just tell them the bloody truth. Harper said, did I come out your belly or your vag? She said, you come out with veg. You know, and I think if you're like that, with the proper words, when they go to school, you know, you hear all the kids say, oh, my mini or my thing. You know, they're different. The same as this. I know this is different, but if a child grows up with a parent smoking weed, they don't go out and talk about it because it's natural to them.
I think the
You
shock
know.
factor's gone, hasn't it? You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I just think, but then again, on saying that, with the way things are and the way social services are, you don't know what you can say anymore. You know, I mean, Harper, if say they got funny about it and said about squeezing your head to go poo. Now, you know, that's just something that's grown up, you
Did
know,
I hear
with
that
Gracie.
right?
And she said, you know, they're out there, they're willing to put all this stuff through schools, teaching children at 4 years old sex education. But if it was the other way around, Harper said, they could come right down on JC. Do you know what I mean? It's just
I've always said, like, what, you squeezing your head there? You
yeah.
know, it's just a natural thing for me. But I've always said, like, oh, you mini moo, you know, or
Yeah.
oh, you winky. That's what my kids have grown up with. They know
Yeah.
exactly what we're talking about. And I've never shied away from anything. If they asked me anything, I'd tell them it. You know, I
Yeah.
would not tell them, because I
Yeah.
think that's wrong in not to. If they ask you, then you should tell them.
Yeah.
If they don't ask you, then there's no reason to tell them anything, because they're not inquisitive.
Yeah.
It's the inquisitiveness that gets them. You know, they then start asking the question. So yeah, of course you should tell them.
Well, the
Don't
thing is,
lie
Jackie,
to them.
the thing is, Jackie, if you
It's
don't,
going to make them more confused.
thing is, Jackie, if you don't tell them, they're going to ask other people, like their friends at school, and who knows what they're going to get told by their friends at school.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Spot on. And I'd rather be the one to tell them what they need to know than listening to a group of girls, you know, in school with, oh, well, this happens and that happens and so forth. I'd rather be the one to tell them what's going on and what needs to be done and what have you.
I remember. Sorry. When my mum sat me and my sister down and told us about birds and the bees, she told us about when she was younger and her mum had never told her anything, and her and her friends at school used to believe. And I don't know whether this is like an old thing rather than a new thing. So maybe Jackie and Sue, being a certain age, can tell me if this is something that my mum was right about. But girls used to believe that the first time you had sex, you couldn't get pregnant.
True.
And if you had sex in a certain position, you couldn't get pregnant.
True.
Oh, something I'm sure boys told girls to get the end away, you know? And girls wouldn't know any different and would believe it. Boys get their leg over and girls get pregnant. And it's because the parents didn't educate the girls. Or the boys, you know? It's both ways, you know?
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing that kids can grow up thinking. If they're not told it, they're told different. You know?
Yeah. I mean, one of my kids, I can't remember if it was one of the boys or girl, come home and said to me, what does this mean? So I said, where'd you learn that? And
you missed that, Sandy. Do it again, Sue.
What does this mean? And I thought, what do I tell them? You know, how do I answer that? And I said, I think it's to see if your fingers touch the sides of the ring. I just didn't know what to say, you know, and
should have told me.
Well, I didn't really know how to explain it. You know, and I mean, George come out one day, he said, I had someone come, he said, is that a gimp outfit? I said, what the fuck's a gimp outfit? He must have been 10. So I said, well, what is it? He said, he got it up on his phone. So I said, why do people wear them? He said, you're really thick, aren't you? I don't know what they are. And then I thought, oh, I'll investigate this. And I thought, oh my bloody God, how does he know about all this? You know? Oh, I mean, sometimes they do catch you out and, oh. I mean, because I never had boys of my own, so I didn't know about boys, you know. So I had to learn all this new stuff.
Laugh about. What I've got to laugh about is with Jane. If Jane can't think of a word, she'll think of something near it, and so you can tell.
Yeah,
And
the
Jane and I,
vibrator.
we were out for a meal with my sister and her family. And oh, it was really cold. It was a really cold night. Jane's sister Wilma, she turned round and she goes, oh, it's cold. She goes, I can't wait to go home, get into bed and get a cuddle off Ian. So Jane turns around, she goes, do you know what I love? And sister goes, what that? She goes, I love when Sandy and I's in bed and with fork, right, with fork.
Not spoon.
You what? Got it wrong. She goes, you what? She goes, fork. She goes, fork? Yeah. And she goes, oh, do you mean spoon? Aye, that's the word. She goes, I knew it had something to do with cutlery.
Well, the other day we was talking about vibrators, weren't we? And I said,
Oh, don't get Jackie started on them.
I said they sell them in the pound shop.
No.
They do. They do some with faces on. I bought my daughter one as a joke. But anyway, I says she said, what was it? Do you get batteries with them? So I said,
I take it back.
yeah, wouldn't it?
Plug it into the national grid.
She said, what happens if the batteries run out? Didn't she? She just really didn't get it. I said, well, you put another set. She does come out with some funny things. Really does.
Well, Sandy, our Jackie got a refund from the Ann Summer shop, and they emailed her, and they said, I'm really sorry, Jackie, but we need to give you a refund. You can't have the big red dildo. That's our fire extinguisher.
Oh dear. Oh God, there's so many funny things out there.
There's a reason why Jackie's got a double X after her name on here. It should be a triple X, really. And it isn't three
Just
kisses.
fucking love him, innit? Because otherwise I'd smash his fucking
Jackie,
head in.
you would miss me like a dog with no neck misses licking its balls.
Yeah.
You do get some stick, Jackie, don't you?
I do.
Some
And
of
I think I take it all
I
really
remember,
well.
I remember the days when Windy was about, and the stick used to get
Oh,
about
God.
vibrators under your bed. It was like any little buzzing noise. It'd be Jackie. Still get turned back with her.
Yeah.
Any excuse to bring up the vibrators for Jackie, and it was like to embarrass Jackie.
Oh, it was a
Time.
good laugh, wasn't it, when Windy
It was
here?
fantastic. It was a good laugh.
I missed him.
Yeah. Just a bit. But talking about Jane, it was the last time it was snowing up here, and it was. I've got a big playing field just out the back window, and you can see it from the kitchen. We were in the kitchen. Jane's looking out, and she sees this guy walking up with this wee dog, and it snow's pretty deep. All you see is a wee dog's head sticking up, trying to plod through the snow. And she goes, that's a shame for that wee dog. I'm going, I goes, that's all right, because you can hardly see it. She goes, it's wee bollocks, it must be frozen.
She does. She just comes out with them. She's so funny.
Oh.
I get embarrassed, you know, but it's something. Jane's amazing with one-liners as well. Absolutely brilliant, you know. And it was one night as well, it was a sister-in-law's birthday. And we were out for a meal. and we were in this restaurant, and the place was the food was crap. And Jane asked for a salad, and they come with a salad, and they were one cherry, a big plate of lettuce, one cherry tomato, and one slice of cucumber on it. She just thought, is that a salad? Must be. And the lettuce, it was all dried up. So I goes, don't eat that, because it's not right. So she goes, no, missus. There's a wee waiter guy. He came over, and the guy come over, and she was saying about a salad. The waiter guy goes, is there something I could do for her? She goes, I give it a kiss of life. She goes, I'm looking at his dead. He goes, then I can do for it because I give it a kiss of life. She could come out with some funnies. She's so innocent, but yeah, it's so funny at times with the things she comes out with. You never know. And there's one time as well, it's torrential with rain, and she looks out the window at the pond. She goes, that's a shame. I said, what's that? She goes, the fish in the pond. She goes, they're going to get soaking.
Oh, she's funny.
When I built my garden pond, I built a pond and I've got a wee stream, the water runs down the wee stream into the pond. And Jane goes, how does that pond not overflow? I said, what do you mean? All that water coming into down that wee stream into the pond, how's it not overflow? It's getting pumped for the pond up there. Yeah, but all this water's running down. She just couldn't get the connection. The water was doing, getting circulated. That's water coming down out of the pond, wasn't it? Oh, God. And then, when she goes into detail, so that water's taking up there, and it comes down there, yeah, right. So if you got to fill the pond up first with water before it does that, aye. But how does it not come down the wee stream first and then because you need to put water in, so you've got to write any detail.
Listen, guys, I'm going to have to go. My battery's going and my things up.
Yeah, I'm going to go
Right,
as
should we
well.
should we call it a night then?
Yeah.
It's been a long night, isn't it? So,
Yeah. Good night. God
All
bless everybody. Take care.
I'll speak to you tomorrow, Jackie.
All right, darling. I'll speak to
All
you
right.
later. Good night. God bless, Sandy.
okay.
Take care.
Right, cheers.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 See you in the morning.
See you, Sandy.
Right.